Detroit Lions are visiting Dallas for the first time since 1977. It's been 17 years since the Lions have appeared in Dallas. Jason Hansen, one of the best in the league, but last week he missed 2 field goal attempts against Minnesota, and that was the difference in the game. And he'll be kicking off with Kevin Williams hurt. He will not play tonight. There he is, their run back specialist. He was injured last week, but with the bye week next week, will play against Washington in 2 weeks. They've got Clayton Holmes and Brock Marion back to receive. That's Holmes, number 47. And here we go from Texas Stadium. The kick is an angled kick that appeared to be headed out of bounds and then comes back the other way, much like a baseball screwball for the touchback. Troy Aikman, MVP of the Super Bowl. He's just gotten better and better. The #1 pick in the 1989 draft out of UCLA, began his college career under Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. At the very top of his game, Emmitt Smith seeks another rushing title. The Moose, Darryl Johnston there with him. Harper and Irvin, the great wideouts. Novacek, the tight end. And up front, the great line. 2-A. Newton, Stepnoski, looking good back from surgery last season. Kennard, the ex-Saint, and Williams on the right side. Aikman will put it up on first down, tries to set up the screen, but he got pressure that time from Pat Swilling, who's been taking a little bit of heat in Detroit. He has not been very active, has not been picking up the sacks. The ex-Saint puts the pressure on. Let's take a look at that Detroit defense. A base 3-4, Porcher, Owens in the middle, and Pritchett. And then the strength, the linebacking. Broderick Thomas, the ex-Buck, he's been real good. Spielman's terrific. Michael Johnson used to play at Cleveland, and the aforementioned Swilling. McNeil and Massey are the corners. Clay and Blades are the safeties. Novacek in motion on 2nd and 10. Good protection this time, and Aikman's pass is off the fingertips of Alvin Harper. So a stuttering start for the Cowboys. It is 3rd down and 10.
Kind of a surprising start for me, Dan, considering the fact that Dallas can run the ball so well. They're going up against the 3-4 defense, and they have destroyed 3-4 defenses over the last couple of years, and they come out throwing the football.
And the way Dallas wins so often, Frank, you're right, is by pounding that huge offensive line at you over and over. And it's been the Dallas modus operandi for a long time. Just hammer away at you with those 300-pound wide bodies. Now almost a certain passing situation.
And on 3rd down and 10, Bernie Kukar is the referee, and we'll get his first call of the night.
Detroit.
And that is a
timeout. Team timeout.
Detroit. So on 3rd and 10, they didn't like the defensive alignment, did the Lions, and have to eat a timeout just 15 seconds into the game. Third down and 10 as play resumes at Texas Stadium. Cowboys and the Detroit Lions wrapping up the 3rd week of the season. Wayne Fonts, and he has been the man who has guided this team through thick and thin and the whipsawed decade of the 90s. His team opening with that overtime win against Atlanta, and then last week no offense, good defense against Minnesota, but a loss at the Metrodome. On 3rd and 10, it's a 4-man rush and a great job by the Cowboy line, and that enables Aikman to find Novacek for a 14-yard gain and a first down.
One of the best tight ends in the business, and that time getting the respect of the Detroit Lions. They covered him with Greg Jeffries, and still Novacek, who can split out, be a wide receiver, be a slot man, anything he wants to be. Good receiver, and he just gets away from Jeffries, opens up a little distance, and Aikman is right there. Look at the look over the right shoulder. That froze Jeffries for a moment, and Aikman was right there.
But that made 2 out of 3 times, Frank, that Aikman got hit and thrown to the ground. He took a great shot that time from Pritchett.
Emmitt Smith's first carry of the game is a nice 8-yard pickup out to the 41-yard line. Robert Porcher makes the tackle.
By the way, if this is the first football game you've seen this weekend, I'm sure you're wondering what's going on with the uniforms these guys are wearing. This is one of the NFL's throwback weekends. I guess the Cowboys uniforms are the 1960 version, and the Lions go all the way back to 1933. And some of the people are going way back too. There's the Menster, Randy White on the Dallas side.
I thought I was watching that old color movie of mine.
Here's Darryl Johnston to a chorus of Moose, picking up the first down up to the 46-yard line.
Cowboys, I see, might have gone back to the old uniforms, but they kept the new helmets. That is, that's the 1990s version of the Cowboy helmet. And of course, that's the 1990s version of an NFL quarterback inside that helmet, Troy Aikman.
You saw Aikman looking over to the sidelines. He does not have a helmet speaker. He gets the play signaled in from the sidelines. They are called by Ernie Zampese, the new offensive coordinator, and signaled in. He does not want that speaker in his helmet.
First down at the 46-yard line. Again, a great job by the line, and the pass is right there. It's caught on the near side by Michael Irvin. Very close to a first down. He's a little short of it. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Boy, you saw one of the strong arms in the history of this game with just a beautiful touch right over Broderick Thomas, who's 6'4", in front of the defender to get the completion. Just a great pass. This is pure touch. Aikman takes a little off over Thomas and right in front of Ryan McNeil, the cornerback. Beautifully executed.
2nd and a short yard, and they give it to Johnston, and Moose gets the short yard and about 2.5 more. That's the 3rd successive first down as Dallas has moved to the Detroit 43-yard line.
Frank, I know you and I think a lot alike in this respect. I've never been a big fan of 2nd and 6 inches, just handing it to the fullback and pick up 2 or 3 yards. That's, to me, that's the best down in football. If you've got an explosive offensive team, you got a chance for a big play.
Big play, and of course, if you have that offensive line like the Dallas Cowboys, I agree totally. Can't knock their success, though, can you?
No.
Quick count, and Emmitt Smith piled up after he reaches the 40-yard line. A gain of a couple. Emmitt Smith seeking yet another rushing title. Last year, winning his 3rd straight, despite the fact he missed the first 2 games of the season because of a contract holdout. One of the, well, on his way to becoming one of the all-time greats. It's tough to anoint somebody an all-time great in his 5th year, but a couple of more seasons like he's had in the past 2 or 3, and there's no question he will be in Canton.
Well, if he just plays the rest of the year the way he's played the first 2 games, he will win it again.
On 2nd and 8, a little razzle-dazzle, a double play fake, and a screen to Emmitt Smith. He's inside the 30, takes it to the 29, and a first down. Stopped by Willie Clay.
Tom Landry would be so proud. There's a page out of the old Cowboys playbook. Nobody ran razzle-dazzle better than Landry's Cowboys, and Barry Switzer adds his touch.
A little fake reverse, a little fake pass to the right, and a flip back the other direction. Coming around is Harper. There is the fake. Look, Torrey will go over there and then come back to Emmitt Smith. The screen is set up beautifully in front of him. I was surprised he didn't get a lot more out of it. Good reaction on the part of the Detroit defense.
4 first downs now for the Dallas Cowboys. The fake to Smith. Aikman rolling, throwing, and the catch is not in bounds. He was out of bounds. Michael Irvin was out of bounds. He was covered by Ryan McNeil.
And covered well by Ryan McNeil. Irving took what looked like a fly route against McNeil, and Aikman rolled out on it, and he angled it back to the sidelines, and McNeil was right with him.
One Hurricane covering another. Both played at Miami.
Neil read this beautifully. Forced Aikman to throw the ball where Irvin was going to come down out of bounds.
They weren't teammates at Miami, but I'm sure that Ryan McNeil knows all about Michael Irvin.
Yep. McNeil was a freshman when Jimmy Johnson was wrapping up his career there in '88. Emmitt swings to the outside and picks up close to 8. Massey and Willie Clay combined to knock him out of bounds.
We'll go back to what we said at the very top of the telecast. Detroit plays a 3-4 defense. Wayne Fontes brought that from Tampa Bay 6 years ago, installed it into the defense. It's Wayne Fontes' type of defense, and Dallas has really thrived on it over the past 2 or 3 years. The thing that makes the 3-4 for Detroit work so well, they have 2 great tackling middle linebackers in Mike Johnson and Chris Spielman in the middle, and they are real fine run defending linebackers. But with that big offensive line, you can really hurt a 3-4.
3rd down and 2 on the game's opening drive. Aikman throws. There's another first down. There's 5 first downs. Another catch for Jay Novacek. And so they've gone from their own 20 to the Detroit 17 on a 12-play and still going drive.
How many times have we watched Jay Novacek come up with the first down reception? I mean, it's twice on this particular drive, but over the years, it's just been, he's been the 3rd down man.
Never ceases to amaze me that he's here in Dallas because he didn't fit in to the Cardinals' plans, and they didn't protect him. He was a Plan B free agent, came here to Dallas, and has enjoyed remarkable success.
Aikman on first down, going for 6. He's got it. Alvin Harper.
Oh, boy. It was either Harper or Novacek. They were both wide open. Aikman didn't know quite whom he was going to go to. That was an execution, that drive.
A lot of guys in the Detroit huddle going to be looking at each other, trying to figure out what was that just happened to us.
Harper will be open. Middle of your screen, Novacek is wide open, but look at Harper.
That's about as poorly as you can play a zone back in the secondary.
So the defense got shredded on an 80-yard drive after the drive began on a 3rd and 10, and Detroit had to take a timeout. The rookie kicker, Chris Boniol, sends it through. Game's opening drive consumes 5 minutes and 49 seconds. It's Dallas 7, Detroit nothing. Troy Aikman masterfully guiding them down the field. Perfect pass. Hits Alvin Harper on the 13th play of the drive. The clock shows 9:11 left in the first quarter, and that's what the Detroit defense is calling right now.
They may not get an answer.
Boniol kicks off to the 3-yard line. This is Derek Moore, and Derek Moore is going to hand the ball off. And this is Johnny Morton, their #1 draft choice, the wide receiver from Southern Cal, out to the 41. And Wayne Font said to us last night when we met with him, a lot of razzle-dazzle guys tonight, and he wasn't kidding. First play.
I'll tell you, that was back to 1935. I haven't seen that in a long time, but that's what they used to do. Only appropriate in these uniforms. They give us a little show tonight.
Scott Mitchell backed up Marino last year and got a good chance to play when Dan went down with the Achilles injury. Sanders, the great one. Perriman, Matthews, and Moore, the wideouts, and the tight end is Ron Hall, the former Buck. Lomas Brown's been there a long time, a good one. Bowens, Glover's been there a long time, the center. Widelli, ex-Bronco, and David Lutz on the right side. There was a marker that moved the ball out to the 41-yard line. Offside was the call, and it was declined. So they picked the flag up after the run back takes it to the 41. Mitchell, the 6'6" left-hander, gives it to Barry Sanders, who dives and darts and moves his way out to the 45. Let's take a look now at the Cowboy defense. With their tremendous offense, you tend to overlook this group. Tolbert, Maryland, Leon Lett, and Charles Haley with 5.5 sacks already this year. Edwards, Robert Jones now in the middle with Norton in San Francisco, and Smith. Kevin Smith and Larry Brown, good cover corners. James Washington had that fabulous Super Bowl, and Darren Woodson, free safety. 2nd down and 6 at the 45-yard line. Barry Sanders again. Darts to the outside, seeks the first down, and burrows his way down to the 45-yard line for a first. Tackled by James Washington.
What is so important for Barry Sanders and his Lion offensive teammates tonight is that Barry can't be making his first move behind his own line of scrimmage. In last week's game against the Vikings, there was somebody in the backfield, and you see what happened. 12 carries for 16 yards. The Detroit offensive line has somehow got to move Dallas off the ball and give Sanders a chance. Don't make him juke in his own backfield.
Here's the up back. This is Derek Moore, and he goes nowhere. Tackled by Darren Smith. It's not that the Lions are a little short in the backfield, but you have just seen their only 2 running backs in uniform tonight, Barry Sanders and Derek Moore. That's it, folks.
Yeah, you have 2 running backs and no socks. I'm not sure you can play football in uniforms that ugly. I hope it's not a distraction for Detroit.
Their 1935 variety, a year in which the Lions were the NFL champions. 2nd down and 10 at the 46-yard line. Mitchell's first pass of the night is right on the mark to the 35-yard line. Brett Perriman pulls it in, and with Anthony Carter hurt, they picked Carter up from Minnesota. He's out for about 2 months. They're going to look for Brett Perriman a lot more.
And well, they should. Brett Perriman, a fine receiver, came from New Orleans a couple of years ago. He's a good runner after he catches the ball, but they've taken him out of the slot, moved him to the outside where Carter ordinarily would have been. He is not as familiar with that spot. He's more effective on the inside, but they'll be looking for him tonight.
First down at the 35-yard line. Sanders. Nowhere. Tackled back at the line of scrimmage. They converge on him. Darren Woodson, the first man to get to him, number 28.
You haven't seen Detroit in a while. You notice that they are now using a tight end. That time they used Ron Hall as an H-back. You saw him come across principally to get in the face of Charles Haley for the pass block and also for the run block.
One thing about playing Dallas, though, Frank, they went to the tight end like you talked about, but I'm not so sure that this is a team that the Lions are going to have a lot of success with Sanders taking the ball parallel to the line of scrimmage. Quick hitters straight at the Dallas Cowboys, try to negate some of their tremendous team speed.
Second and 11, they line up Halleck in the backfield. He's really a tight end. And Mitchell, well, showing some movement. He's 6'6", but relatively nimble, and out of bounds he goes at the 36-yard line. He was chased out by Darren Smith.
Don't really realize how big Scott Mitchell is at 6'6", 200.
Until he gets the ball moving at the same time, and then it's hard to stop it.
230 pounds. That is a large hunk of man playing quarterback for the Detroit Lions. When you see the quarterback stand in his own huddle, the way players are in this day and age in the NFL, and he's looking them in the eye, you know you've got yourselves a big quarterback.
Third down and 12. Dallas leading 7-0. 5.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. It's a four-man rush. And Mitchell, and the catch is made by Moore. Herman Moore developing into one of the best in the league. Pretty good coverage that time. Able to hold on and enough for the first down.
Well, I thought it was Kevin Smith, I believe. I thought he got a finger on it, but good concentration by Herman Moore. And you're right, Al. He is becoming one of the fine outside receivers. He has great height, 6'3", great leaping ability, a former high jumper. And it was Kevin Smith that he didn't touch it, and Moore had the concentration, looked it right into the hands for the first down. Beautifully thrown.
First and 10 at the 23-yard line. And the whistle, I believe, sounded before the snap. It's fumbled. Mitchell recovers it. There is a flag down. Bernie Kukar is the referee.
False start on the offense prior to the snap. That'll be a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Okay. First and 15. You know, you never want to make too much of an opening drive in a game, but when Dallas goes through the Detroit defense like that and you're on the road, this is a pretty important opening drive for Detroit.
Yes, and it got kick-started by the kickoff return. What a way to get things started, and in the sense that you're not starting from back at your own 20 or inside.
If this was 3 and out, you might have been looking at a long route. Sanders bottled up just about at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second and 15. Darren Smith is there to make the tackle.
Again, Barry Sanders tries to take it outside against the Dallas Cowboys, and that is hard to do, even for Barry Sanders.
Well, they're noted for their speed and their quickness as we take a look at a very interesting graphic. But Dallas goes strictly with speed. They're not big. They're linebackers, none of them over 235 pounds, but they are very quick. Tough for a Barry Sanders who likes to bounce to the outside because they're going to be right in his face.
Graphic indicating the Cowboys have not given up a touchdown pass in the last 5 regular season games. Will it come here? No.
It would have if the ball would have been thrown a little bit shorter. Perryman was open.
Got past Darren Woodson, just a bit overthrown.
One advantage, I guess is an advantage, is that Scott Mitchell, being a left-hander, is able to see Charles Haley, the best pass rusher for the Cowboys, and again right off the fingertips of Perriman, and that was one that could have been laid in there. Darren Woodson on the coverage, the safety man trying to stay with the speedy Perriman, but Scott Mitchell will be at least have a good view of where the best pass rusher is coming from, Charles Haley.
Third and 14, 3:48 to go first quarter, 7-0 Cowboys. They have to get to the 13. They give it to Sanders. Barry inside the 20, and Barry is thrust out of bounds at the 15. Vintage Sanders.
Oh man, that's something.
That's good stuff, isn't it?
I'll tell you, you're watching two of the best that ever played this game, and Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, and I hope nobody asks us which one we think is the best. It'd be hard to pinpoint. Emmitt's got one of the great lines ever put together in front of him. Barry doesn't. This guy is electricity.
No, but I sure like the fact that he took the ball going forward. Look, he's going to take this thing and go straight up the field, then make his move to the outside.
Those are instinct moves there. He just, I mean, that's in his mind. He doesn't think anything about it. His body's been doing that for years and years.
32-yard field goal attempt coming here for Jason Hansen. Dave Craig to put it down, and Hansen puts it through. So kick started on that drive by the Wharton return. Hansen picks up 3, and with 3:07 to go in the quarter, it's Dallas 7, Detroit 3. Texas Stadium, it's a unique sight. No other stadium looks like that. Hole in the roof, home of the Cowboys.
Guess they're having serious talk down here in Dallas about enclosing this all the way and turning it into a legitimate dome, an air-conditioned stadium.
That open it up all the way.
That would not be an inexpensive proposition, I think. That's not a window air conditioner to keep this place cool.
Hansen's kick, a flag is down on the kickoff. It's taken by Clayton Holmes, who is running back kicks tonight in place of the injured Kevin Williams. He comes out to the 28-yard line, but there's a marker down. Tackle was made by Scott Kowalkowski. Offside on the kicking team, offside Detroit. Wayne Funtz took over for Darrell Rogers at the end of the 1988 season. I guess you might say the folks in the Motor City have had sort of a love-hate relationship with him.
How could you hate it? He's so much fun.
I'm saying it's reflective of the way the team has played through the decade.
I guess you have to take a look at what it was like before Wayne Funtz took over the head coaching duties of the Detroit Lions, and they were dismal. They were not in good shape. That's Joe Avezzano, the special teams coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but the Lions were pretty far down.
On the kickoff, number 94. The penalty is declined. First down.
That's one of those things you have to think about, the call that they just made, and they opted to take it at the 28. We'll step away for a moment. 2:58 to go, first quarter. The Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron floating high above Texas Stadium. Irving, Texas.
A little more difficult for the blimp man, I think, down here. You got to get right over the top of the stadium, looking down that hole.
Real nice night for flying, though. Just a very light breeze, temperature in the low 80s. And from the 28-yard line on 1st and 10, Aikman dumps it over the middle. It's Darrell Johnston to the typical chorus of Moose out to the 34. ABC's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Flying the low-fare airline is just plain smart. Ice brewed Ice House, ice brewed so there's never any watered down taste. And Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. Second and 4 at the 34. 2:20 to go, first quarter. 7-3 Cowboys. Emmitt Smith slices his way out to the 40-yard line in the first down for Dallas. Kelvin Pritchett makes the tackle.
I keep looking at these Dallas uniforms, and I'm looking for Don Meredith and Bob Lilly and some of the old-time Dallas Cowboys. They were really attractive uniforms for just getting on the scene, and there is the number 74 that struck fear in the heart of every offensive lineman in the National Football League.
17 in your program, number 1 in your heart.
From the 39-yard line, Emmitt Smith, just another pickup of 5 yards.
Yeah.
Just another pickup. Next week we go to Orchard Park, New York, and this is a game all of a sudden of great significance to the Denver Broncos, who have begun the year 0-3. So John Elway will try to right them against the Bills, who started with a loss to the Jets but have now won 2 straight. Buffalo and Denver. Kelly and Elway next Monday.
What kind of a week do you think it is on the talk shows in Denver?
On 2nd and 5, we've got a whistle before the snap.
Detroit signaling that we've got some sort of a Dallas false start.
I would assume if Wade Phillips could jam the signals in Denver, he would.
A blackout, I think, would be more like
Radio Free Denver.
False start. Number 84 on the offense prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, you don't see the false start called on a tight end very often, but Novacek was staying into pass block that time and rocked back in his stance before the snap of the ball. Pat Swilling is the man to that side, and a lot of times in this league he ends up being double teamed.
2nd and 10. Flip to Emmitt Smith. And it's a minimal gain for Mr. Smith out to the 42-yard line in the final minute of the first quarter.
Spielman out there from his inside backer position along with Pat Swilling. Spielman, one of the, I guess you would say, underrated compared to what he provides for this football team. Is he from Canton, Ohio? Or
he's from Massillon, Ohio, right next door to Canton. One thing about Chris Spielman is here's a guy that you know. Take the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. He would have been right at home in any one of those decades.
Even the 1800s. On 3rd and 7, Moose Johnston dives for the first down, crosses the 50-yard line.
Spielman downfield on the tackle. Guy standing alongside of Moose Johnson tonight. This is one big man. He is a lot bigger than his program weight, I can tell you that.
That's the end of the first quarter. Dallas leads 7-3. And back we come with Monday Night Football. Second quarter, Texas Stadium, Irving, Texas. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. Week 3 of Monday Night Football in our 25th season. 7-3. Cowboys on top. They marched 80 yards in the game's opening drive. Detroit countered with a Jason Hanson field goal. Now Dallas starts quarter number 2 at the Detroit 49, 1st and 10. And Troy Aikman to put it up to the far side, and the catch is made by Alvin Harper, and he reaches for a first down and has it. Alvin Harper.
How must Ryan McNeil feel?
Can't cover any better than that.
I don't know how you can cover any better than that. I don't know how you can tackle any better than that. I don't know how you can be more aggressive, more tenacious, and still, what's Alvin Harper do? He catches the ball, and then after the catch, picks up a first down.
You know, when he plants his foot right here, the ball is in the air. Aikman and Harper work on this by the hour, and there's no way that McNeil, with great position, great timing, could do anything about it.
No, that's just tremendous football by Alvin Harper.
On first down, Emmitt Smith looking for room. Well, he's going to try a Barry Sanders there. Just a handful of blue shirts led by Tracy Scoggins. It's a loss of 3.
Boy, and credit that play to Pat Swilling. Pat Swilling gets out in front of that thing. Scoggins as well. And this, I'll tell you something, these guys strung that play out beautifully. It's not very often you see Emmitt Smith lose yardage. And now I think almost certainly what we'll see is no reluctance by Troy Aikman to put the football in the air.
How do you cover 80, 88, and 84?
On 2nd and 13, fake draw. Look at that time. The secondary did a very nice job, and the pass is caught at the 40-yard line by Emmitt Smith, but credit that one to the secondary. Tackle made by Tracy Hayworth.
They answered my question. They went into his zone. Good coverage. Pretty good pressure on Troy Aikman. Forced him out of the pocket, and he had to check off to Emmitt Smith. Good catch by Smith. But they were all over him. And in the arms of Pritchett. Troy Aikman gets it to Smith, but he could do nothing with it.
3rd and 11. The Cowboys have converted all 3 third downs tonight. Aikman trying to get him to the 28 for the first, and it's incomplete because it's off the hands of Michael Irvin. Benny Blades provides the coverage.
Well, if you're going to
Benny
play,
Blades provides a little more than that back there also.
Oh, boy.
When you're a receiver, you're thinking about where is Benny Blades, and I think that might have been on the mind of Michael Irvin a little bit.
well, the ball was thrown
high.
Yeah, it was high.
But he knew that Benny Blades was lurking back there somewhere.
Irvin got those arms back in a hurry, but that was uncharacteristic by Troy Aikman. That ball sailed on him and was high, really too high for Irvin to catch.
Now John Jett to punt, and he'll probably angle it here. Line of scrimmage is the 39. He floats it up, and he sends it down to the 11-yard line, and Mel Gray, one of the very best, has to fair catch it there. So Detroit has it. They're down by 4. 12:52 left in the half. The Monday night lineup has the Lions trailing 7-3, and Detroit with the ball at the 13-yard line. First down. Barry Sanders, not much room to roam there, and Tony Tolbert gets credit for the tackle, a yard or two pickup. Second down, let's call it 9.
Yeah, Barry shows no ill effects from that knee injury of a year ago. He went down in the 11th game. He had over 1,100 yards rushing when he missed the last 5 games of the season, but he shows no effects from that knee injury whatsoever. Look at those quick moves. Everything's so instinctive with him.
He's a human pinball, is what he is. He just seems to just carry him off of space, off of tacklers. It's wonderful lateral movement.
Second and 9, they fake it to Sanders, and that opens it up on the far side. The catch is made by Aubrey Matthews, and he has a first down up at the 30-yard line. 16-yard pickup for the fellow from Delta State, Aubrey Matthews.
Whether this drive goes any farther or not, it's been successful for Detroit. Inside your own 20-yard line, inside your own 15, you need to get a first down. Against a team like the Dallas Cowboys, 3 and out is a backbreaker. A key first down pickup for the Detroit Lions. Let's see if they can keep it going.
From the 30-yard line. Sanders, great. Juking, picks up 9 yards on the play up to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, James Washington is one of the best tackling safety men you're going to find in football. You just can't get into Barry's legs. No way. Washington brought him down, but not until he had spun and twisted for about another 3 yards. Now look at him peck along looking for the hole. Tony Tolbert misses right there, plants the left foot, and now Washington takes a shot at him. He misses, and close to a first down. 9-yard pickup.
The guy that's got to stay home, Frank, is Robert Jones, the middle linebacker. He wants to overrun plays.
Here's Barry again. And that's a first down. It's a gain of 6. Well, it's throwback weekend. I guess we could call him a scat back.
A scat back. Indeed.
A lot of fun this weekend. They sent me a jersey from the 50s, and Dan won from what, the 70s, I guess, Dan. Mine fit. Yours a little
No,
size.
actually, the jersey I have is from the Cardinals back in the 30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the old franchises. In fact, I think the oldest continuous franchise in the NFL is the St. Louis Phoenix Arizona Cardinals, and there's Billy Sims on the Detroit sideline. Talk about throwbacks.
From the 45-yard line. And it's off the right fingertip of Aubrey Matthews. Billy Sims making some old acquaintances tonight, not only in terms of the Lions, but his college coach on the other side of the field, Barry Switzer.
Boy, did he put out a lot of outstanding players, Barry Switzer, over the years. Somebody offered him a job professionally. Who was it? And he said, look, I got no more #1 draft picks than you've got.
That was Kansas City talked to him in the mid-70s.
Well, why should I leave this? I've got no more #1s than you have.
Second and 10 at the 45.
I think he was telling the truth.
Yeah, Sanders. Turns no gain into about a 3-yard pickup.
It's a shame Barry Sanders doesn't have much in the way of body control. Can you believe a guy is going at that rate to the outside and then realizes he has nowhere to go and can change direction and just get back upfield and just pick up 3 yards? Look at this move right here.
That's an extra 2 just out of that move.
Oh, I know. That's good work by Sanders.
Third down and 7. Detroit at the 48. Dallas ahead 7-3. 9:45 left in the half. Scott Mitchell loses the football. And they're going to say incomplete. Incomplete. His arm was coming forward.
Well, there seemed to be a little indecision there. At first, it looked like the officials were considering ruling it a fumble.
Jeffcoat forced the issue.
Well, what's new? Jim Jeffcoat, a guy that you probably thought was going to be out of this league 4 or 5 years ago. Every year Dallas makes plans to go on without him, and every year it seems all he does is just make plays like this. The reason his arm was going forward was because Jeffcoat knocked it forward.
Greg Montgomery, the former Oiler, one of the very best in the league. Clayton Holmes is back to receive the kick. And he sends it down to the 14. And Holmes out past the 20. And Clayton Holmes was out of bounds back at the 32-yard line.
Fine move by Holmes. Kevin Williams, as we mentioned earlier, not able to go. Very sore knee, and Clayton Holmes puts on a show. Right there.
9:24 left in the half. .924 remaining in the first half at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys coming in with a mark of 2-0, and Detroit is 1-1. Week 3 coming to a conclusion. 7-3. Dallas on top.
It is such a kick to look at those uniforms. Brings back a lot of memories for me when Detroit was ruling the roost in the 50s. World champions, 57, 2, 3, 4.
Bobby Lane and company. Emmitt Smith, the pickup of 8. Well, we take a look at one great running back of the present. How about one from the past? Lynn Swan?
Billy Sims, over 5,100 yards with Detroit Lions. Billy, could you play in this one-back set for Detroit?
Well, maybe, but I like the two-back set with the fullback in front of me giving me some help.
Yeah. Now, you're a good friend of Barry Switzer's. You won the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma when he was there. When he became the head coach of the Cowboys, your friends came to talk to you about what kind of coach he'd be. What'd you tell him?
Hey, it's a guy that'll go to battle for you. You know, he respects his players. And he's a player's coach. And with the coaches, he let his coaches coach. And that's a good thing about it.
You think all the criticism was unfair when he came in to take that job?
Very much so. But you know what? He used to that criticism coming to Texas because every OU in Texas weekend, we had that criticism because of him recruiting so heavily the players from Texas going to OU.
So you think he'll do a good job here?
Yeah, without a doubt. Great supporting cast. I love the guy. I wish I could play for him.
I know. I saw you at the training camp the other day. Billy, thank you.
I'm 14 years too late, though.
Okay, Al.
All right, Lynn. And, well, the man he's talking about, Barry Switzer, undefeated right now.
Yeah, but he makes the point about people in Texas don't like him. You got to leave right after the game when you were coaching Oklahoma.
Here's Emmitt Smith, who had picked up the prior first down, gets 3 here.
The secret was to leave the Cotton Bowl and look like you were leading them on to bigger things.
That's exactly right.
You were being chased out.
Benny Blades is shaken up, and Blades, who missed a good part of last year and still has a little bit of a limp, now has another problem.
Benny broke his leg last year and had an ankle that was still bothering him during training camp, and not all the way back. One of the most ferocious hitters in the National Football League at free safety. Benny Blades of the Lions.
2nd and 7. Johnston was falling down, and I'll tell you, had that one been deflected and then picked off, it would have been an easy touchdown for Willie Clay.
Detroit hasn't done much of it, but what you saw right there with the blitz is what troubled Dallas last week against Houston, and they really struggled in picking up the Houston Oilers blitz, finally winning that one 2017. But this was a full blitz on the part of the Detroit Lions, and Troy rushed the pass a little bit to the usually sure-handed Darryl Johnson.
Billy Sims talked about that two-back set, liking that fullback in front of him. I think Emmitt Smith would be the first guy to agree with him.
3rd down and 7. Aikman, deep drop, good out, and a flag goes down. Michael Irvin takes it to the 34-yard line.
Well, the flag came down right in the vicinity, and you got to wonder, how did Michael Irvin get that wide open? He's a big physical receiver.
Well, Novacek was also tied up with Spielman.
Yeah, offensive interference. This is going to go against Michael Irvin. He loves to get right up there chest to chest with a defender and then subtly push off. Well, every now and then that push off is a little less than subtle.
Pass interference, number 88 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Michael Irvin not even questioning that call.
It works both ways.
18-yard gain negated. It's now 3rd and 17.
Michael Irvin, you can see the result of his push. Already had the Detroit defender on the ground, Robert Massey, and he did it right in front of the official.
3rd down 17 from the 38-yard line. They have to get to the Detroit 45. It's thrown underneath, and Emmitt Smith will be tackled at the 42. It will be 4th and long, and they'll punt. Pat Swilling makes the stop, and we have 6:45 remaining in the half. Cowboys on top by 4.
A fine stop it was too, Al. Pat Swilling in the open field against Emmitt Smith. That's a mismatch, and he was able to make the tackle.
Yeah, Pat Swilling really made his reputation as a pass rusher. 17 sacks back in '91, but he's a complete linebacker. He can drop off, he can cover, and he can tackle in the open field, and he tackled one of the best.
John Jett to punt. Mel Gray, one of the very best of all time. Tremendous kick.
Whoa!
And Gray will field it at the 4. And takes it back to the 13. He's one of the few who would have license to take a kick like that inside the 5-yard line. 54-yard punt and a 9-yard return.
A couple of those, they may take the license away, though.
Yeah. And Bernie Kukar with a little pushing and shoving going on. I don't see a flag, but there's a little bit of a conference here, so that is clearly indicative of an upcoming penalty.
Yeah, Mel Gray took that ball almost at the 3-yard line. I'm sure he would have liked to have done that over again.
I don't see a flag anywhere on the field. But
that's why we had the music, and we're ready to go to commercial and the whole thing. But there. That's why. Huh?
It's off the field. Our vision obviously only restricted to the green part.
We only talk about what happens between the lines, right?
There it is. I said it's all the way across at the far 20. Ooh, personal foul against Detroit. So their bad field position now becomes even worse. They're hanging in there. 6:10 left in the first half, and they only trail by 4 points. Now this is where mistakes can absolutely drive a stake through your heart.
Number 21 on the return team, on the run back, block the man out of bounds, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Harry Colin. So they'll start from the 6. 6:10 to go in the half. 7-3 Dallas. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf, Texas Stadium in Irving. 7-3 Dallas. They moved 80 yards with the opening kickoff. An impressive drive. Detroit countered with a field goal. And now the Lions begin this drive back at their own 6-yard line. Scott Mitchell, the quarterback. Barry Sanders is the setback on first down. And Sanders up to the 10. The Cowboys, the greatest story in sports this year with the coaching change. Nobody really knew what to expect from Barry Switzer, but he's been, I think, real smart about it. He's just let it kind of roll along, and so far so good.
I think he's handled it as well as he ever could handle anything. I mean, it was a difficult situation when you come in and replace a winner like that. And we asked him about it last night. He said, look, that's just me. That's how I am. And I believe him.
Well, he said, and he's right. He said, I would have been incredibly stupid to come in here and think that I could tell them how to do their business when they won 2 consecutive Super Bowls.
Play fake, catch is made. That is Brett Perriman. You know, I think a lot of people may have been confused in that opening press conference. Remember when he carried on a little bit and he was very excited and hugging. People didn't know what to expect, but that's really not indicative of the way he is.
What'll be interesting will be when the first real crisis happens. The first time that some real player discipline is necessary, the first time that he really has to assert himself, maybe among his coaching staff or among the team.
Or when he puts the wishbone in.
That's right. Well, now that would be asserting himself.
He got fired up when we mentioned it last night.
First and 10.
Wishbone. That'll tell the tale of Barry Switzer, the first crisis and how he handles it.
From the 17-yard line, Barry Sanders breaks one up past the 30. Barry Sanders to near midfield.
I'd pay to watch this. He is remarkable.
Well, now we've got a very upset Kevin Smith pushing everybody in sight. Well, this makes the second time today that Detroit had really poor field position and has worked their way out of it. Again, straight up the field goes Barry Sanders, and then he starts to make his moves. If you just let this guy go 3 or 4 yards and then begin the creative process, you're going to have an exciting night running the football. So far, so good for the Detroit offensive line.
They better hurry.
28-yard pickup. They're down to 1 on the play clock. The fake to Derek Moore. The catch is made by Herman Moore. Gain of 8 to the Dallas 47-yard line. It'll be second down and 2.
Yeah, Herman Moore, you have to respect his speed. There, he was going against Larry Brown, one of the fine defensive cornerbacks in the league. And
Dave Levy, the offensive coordinator.
USC offensive coordinator, and has come in and now assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for Wayne Fonts.
Sanders now up and over 7,000 yards in his career.
He's on the sideline as well.
2nd and 2, and they give it to Derek Moore, and he bangs his way inside the 45, and that's a first down for the Lions, who are hanging right in there.
And I think I'd run Mr. Sanders back out just like that.
6th year out of Oklahoma State.
Look at the average. There's the impressive number, 4.7 yards per carry. Ladies and gentlemen, that is awesome.
Fewest games required to reach that mark. Dickerson, Brown, Campbell, those pretty good names. Peyton, Otis Anderson, and Barry Sanders. From the 43, he'll pick up a few more. Will Barry, as he takes it to the 37-yard line.
Boy, it's so important to have that cast around you as a running back. Barry Sanders has put together those numbers with not one of the great offensive lines of all time either. He's done much of it on his own. He has the style that can do it on his own. And you think about, what do you think about Eric Dickerson? Had he stayed with the Los Angeles Rams and not got himself in trouble with weaker offensive lines, what he might have done in terms of numbers. But I'll tell you, Barry Sanders has done a lot on his own also.
Scott Mitchell buys time and then guns one, and Herman Moore. Is it taken away from him? Yes, it is, because Kevin Smith was right there.
Well, I can't believe that didn't draw a flag, though. Kevin Smith bumping into Herman Moore. They've been calling it so closely against the defensive backs, and that time there was jostling on the part of Kevin Smith.
Well, Herman Moore got away with a shot there as he gave Smith a poke right in the chops. This ball is in play for a while. It's off the ground. After that point, it's a moot issue as to what happens. But this crowd in Texas Stadium saw Kevin Smith get wrapped in the face by Herman Moore.
But he got away with a face mask after it as Sanders picks up a first down. He run out of bounds by Woodson, and Brett Perriman, little Brett Perriman, threw the block to spring him.
How many running backs do you give the ball to on a 3rd down and a long 4? He is your best percentage play, and that pays a tremendous tribute to one Barry Sanders.
But
he got good blocking on that one.
It's a dead play if it's not for the hit by Perryman. I think he hits Brock Marion. Let's see who it's on. There it is right there.
Here's Brock Marion.
He puts Marion on his shoulder blades. They're the first thing that hit the ground.
1st and 10, 28-yard line, 2:18 left in the half. Moore in the 25, a rapidly played game. Just getting a blow on the Detroit bench is the great one.
If you get Barry Sanders on one side of the line, Emmitt Smith on the other, you're going to have a fast game.
Yeah.
Keep the ticker moving.
Under an hour. 2-minute warning for the first half. Dallas 7, Detroit 3. Barry Sanders still breathing heavily. 13 carries tonight thus far. He had only 12 last week in Minnesota. Emmitt Smith appearing none the worse for wear. It is 2nd down and 7 at the 25-yard line. 2 minutes to go in the half. Cowboys 7, Lions 3. Crowd imploring the Dallas D to get with it. Mitchell for the end zone, touchdown, wide open Brett Perriman. So with Carter hurt, Perriman's getting a chance. He throws a beautiful block on the preceding play, catches the touchdown here, and the Lions have the lead.
Perriman right downfield, gave it a move to the inside, froze the Dallas zone, and Mitchell was right on stride with it.
Well, one of the 2 Dallas safeties to that side just got spun all the way around by that inside move you referred to by Brett Perriman. He was wide open, and well, James Washington, number 37, appeared to be the guy, but what a drive when you consider this thing started on the 6-yard line. 94 yards on the road against the world champions by the Detroit Lions.
Jason Hansen, the point after. Well, we talked about what Lion team turns up on any given night. The good Lions so far in the first half.
Oh, and Washington got himself caught with that in move on the part of Perriman. A good move and a fine pass by Mitchell.
Well, the Lions, 94-yard drive, lead 10-7. Jason Hansen will kick off. Clayton Holmes and Brock Marion are back to receive for the Cowboys.
And things are a little quieter in Irving.
Considerably at the goal line. It's dropped. It is dropped again. It is picked up in the 6 by Clayton Holmes, and he is smothered at the 11-yard line. Cowboys start deep in their own territory. They have 3 timeouts. Van Malone made the tackle on the last play, and we have 1:50 to go in the half. College football. 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining in the first half. The skyline of Big D, Dallas, Texas, just to the east of Texas Stadium here in Irving. We have college football coming your way Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. There's
the big one.
Well, Dan's Michigan Wolverines host Colorado. Washington against Miami. Arizona, Stanford. New Mexico, BYU. Alcorn State and Sam Houston State. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
What were you saying today about the Wolverine and the Buffalo? Nip their heels a lot.
The Wolverine needs to nip at the Buffalo a lot of little bites before
We get a lot of Wolverines.
Colorado's awful good.
Screen from the 11. It is Emmitt Smith. He has the first down, and Emmitt Smith gets all the way out to the 30-yard line. That deep drop as Aikman went back into the end zone, set it up. Roderick Thomas finally corrals him. 19-yard gain.
Almost like Emmitt was saying, I've seen enough of Barry Sanders. Give me that football.
Well, the Cowboys still have all 3 of their timeouts remaining and 1 minute and 25 seconds. So a lot of time to make something happen.
Aikman started to stumble, and then Emmitt Smith started to look upfield.
Oh, look out. He might have hurt his leg.
A collision, and Emmitt Smith, and this place turns very silent.
Yes, that was number 51, Broderick Thomas, sailing through the air, and their legs collided. And Emmitt Smith is hobbling off. Now, hopefully that's just a blow to the shin, or you hope it wasn't actually a joint, either the knee or the ankle that took
like
the
he might have
shot.
kicked the shin bone.
And boy, we know
hope
how
it was that.
Oh, and does that hurt?
That smarts for a little bit.
Emmitt's going to drop the ball and then do a forward roll and watch his leg when it's in the air. Ooh, right there, right on the left ankle. He took the shot on the left ankle from Thomas.
Lincoln Coleman is his backup. And Troy's going to take off, and he gets tackled by Spielman and calls a timeout with 1:08. He's short of the first down.
And there is a lump in the Cowboys' throat right now as the medical staff looks at Emmitt Smith.
Well, they work on Emmitt Smith. First report we're getting from the bench, it's the ankle. And we'll await further information from the Dallas sideline. And the word we're now getting is that he may have done it before the hit itself. He may have sprained the ankle before he was hit.
Probably caught it in the turf and twisted it. They didn't see that.
3rd and 1 now from the 39. You've got Lincoln Coleman in there, but they give it to the up back, Moose, who runs right into one of his blockers up front. He ran right into Stepnoski, but then thrust forward to the 41. Go back and take a look now at the Emmitt Smith play after Dallas picks up the first down.
All right, we looked at the collision after the somersault. Let's look at his ankle before. Oh, there's the right ankle. You're right. Look at the right ankle as he rolls out. And that's really what precipitated the forward roll.
And back to live action. Lincoln Coleman, Smith's backup, takes it out to the 48-yard line. With that much time, the clock ticking down, 33 seconds. 2 timeouts for the Cowboys.
Where they're burning an awful lot of time here.
They're using a lot of time here. 2nd and 3. Look out from behind, Pat Swilling. And how often did he do that in the Superdome with the New Orleans Saints year after year?
Well, it helps to try to block him. Troy Aikman looking downfield with his back turned, and nobody bothers to even block Pat Swilling. That is how you end up playing the season without your quarterback. And Emmitt Smith is back in the ballgame.
3rd and 11. Meanwhile, with 2 timeouts left, we're almost out of time in the half. And that's knocked down at the 43-yard line. Good coverage on Novacek with 4 seconds left. Jeffries and Spielman converge on the tackle.
That choice by Troy Aikman. He does not make choices like that Spielman back right in front of Novacek.
And an expression of dissatisfaction by the crowd here at Texas Stadium.
Brett Musburger, Peter King in the studio. Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders will be interviewed at halftime, and then Tim Allen will come along, and he's here. The star of home improvement will visit with us from Texas Stadium. And this will be the final play, barring a penalty, of the first half, and it's a John Jett boot. Of all things, though, well, that's wonderful, except the half is over. Boy, that'll look great on the stat sheet, though. Lynn Swan checking things out with Emmitt Smith, so we'll hear it right from the horse's mouth when we start the third quarter. Aikman and the Cowboys go off the field trailing 10-7. And back we come after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Okay. So we start the second half at Texas Stadium, and Chris Boniol will send it down to Detroit. The Lions have a 3-point lead, and they're going to get the football as it bounces out of bounds. And this year, it will come out to the 40-yard line on an infraction of that sort. And that's where Detroit will begin the initial drive of the second half. Lions, a 2-touchdown underdog coming into the game, are on top by 3, 10-7.
Started to say, Alan, a lot of people just came home and tuned in. I'm sure they're a little bit shocked, a little bit surprised. Detroit has played good, solid football. This has not been because of turnovers, but because of mistakes. They have just played good, solid football.
1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. Scott Mitchell, the new $11 million man, 11 mil over 3. Hands the ball to Barry Sanders. Last year, the Lions had 3 quarterbacks, and as somebody put it very aptly, when you have 3 quarterbacks, you really don't have any.
That's true.
Quarterback by committee.
But now they have one, and there's one of those 3 quarterbacks who's playing for the Dallas Cowboys, Rodney Peete.
Started 57 games for Detroit over his time when he was there, 5 years. Won a lot of games for them. For an Achilles tendon in '91 and never regained the mobility that he had before that.
2nd and 7 at the 43-yard line. Sanders stopped about 3 yards shy of the first down. He's pushed out of bounds by Marion and Woodson. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Sanders now 99 yards after being limited to 16 last week at the Metrodome.
And he has been such a difference here tonight. He's dominated this game. And of course, the touchdown to Perriman putting the Detroit Lions ahead right before the half. But it has been the concern on the part of the Dallas defense of stopping Barry Sanders that has started to get the Detroit Lion receivers open.
3rd down and 3 from the 47. And it's a little low, intended for Sanders and incomplete.
They would have had a good play going if they could have got that pass to Barry, but it was low and away, and there's no way, even with Sanders' body control, that he's going to be able to stop, catch it, and then do anything with it.
Greg Montgomery to punt. Back to receive is Clayton Holmes. Again, Kevin Williams, their run back specialist, was shaken last week. They'll have a bye week upcoming with the Cowboys, and then they say Williams is ready for action the following week at Washington. Good deep kick. It's dropped at the 9-yard line and loose there. Rolling, and it's going to go out of bounds just about at the pylon.
Detroit never controlled it, so it's going to be a Dallas football.
Derek Moore was there.
Oh, boy.
It went right through the arms of Holmes. It was hard to tell whether he touched it or not. If he does touch it, it's a muff. Yes, he appeared to touch the football, so that baby is free. Ooh, and it was in and out of the arms, and that is so tough. Moore had it, just couldn't control it. 2 guys upset on this play. Moore and Holmes both.
At the 2-yard line, Emmitt Smith starts in his familiar tailback spot here as the Second half, first drive for Dallas commences, and Emmitt takes it out to the 5-yard line. Michael Johnson makes the tackle. All right, Lynn, let's get an update.
Okay, Al, I talked with Emmitt Smith when he came off the field. You're right about when he turned his ankle. I asked him if he was coming back. He said, of course. He acted as if the sprained ankle was no more than a cold, and he had to be in this ball game. Barry Switzer also said at halftime, told his team just to stay poised. He said they've been playing pretty good, a couple of mistakes. He thinks they'll stay in this ball game and come out on top. Al?
Well, they're down by 3 early in the third quarter. And it's dropped by Darryl Johnston. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Well, Detroit made an awful lot with the poor field position that they had in the first half. They were able to drive out of the shadow of the goalpost, and now the real onus is on the Dallas Cowboys. Can they do it? That was not a very pretty pass play that they just attempted, trying to get it out to Darryl Johnston.
Well,
and look at that. Keep in mind what a winning team that is. 0-5, trailing at halftime are the Dallas Cowboys. Who would have thunk it?
3rd down and 7. And Aikman throws, and that's incomplete. The pass intended for Michael Irvin. He was falling down as it got there. And it's 4th down, and Detroit's going to get the ball in pretty good position.
Irvin actually slipped as he tried to make his stop and move to the outside. A little sprint trying to get McNeil's attention. He did that, but he slipped, and then when he tried to go back for the ball, he lost it altogether. The Cowboys are just out of sync. They're just little things, but they're compounding themselves, and when that starts to happen, the wheels can come off very quickly.
They pounded Pittsburgh in the opener, but they have been sporadic since.
Here's John Jett's kick. It is a 51-yard kick. It is fielded by Mel Gray, and he takes it back to the 44-yard line. So we have 12:30 to go in the third, and the Lions up by a field goal.
What the Dallas Cowboys have is a real game on their hands. The Cowboys prohibitive favorites tonight against a Detroit Lions team that was no way to sugarcoat it. Plain manhandled last week by the Minnesota Vikings. Embarrassed by the Vikings. They certainly are not embarrassing themselves tonight.
10-7 Detroit. Lions have it at the Cowboy 43. 1st down. And here's Sanders, and he's up and over 100 yards as he takes it to the 40-yard line.
Barry Sanders just changes the game, the way it's played, and so many backs would have been stopped at the line of scrimmage. But what he does to a defensive player, and one of the Cowboys a little slow getting up, it was Dixon Edwards. Now he's on his feet, but he makes you hesitate before you take a shot at him. And when you hesitate defensively against the Barry Sanders, he's gone. He is so slippery, so quick, so instinctive. And even the Cowboys, as quick as they are, they have been missing tackle after tackle, always missing the first one.
2nd and 7. Fake. Mitchell throws a duck, throws it away.
That was a very smart duck. If he was about to go down, he knew it. He threw it out of bounds.
Tolbert and Russell Maryland decking him as he got rid of it.
I'll tell you guys playing a whale of a game tonight. We haven't called him out yet, but Lomas Brown, the left tackle of the Lions, he's the guy that's matched up with Charles Haley. Lomas Brown, a Pro Bowler.
Doesn't surprise you, does it?
No. Certainly the Lions' best offensive lineman, but Charles Haley's been kind of quiet since a couple big hits at the very beginning of the ball game. The Detroit offensive line has really come on.
3rd down and 7. And Sanders is stopped at the 37.
Oh boy, decision time here.
Well, this is the staple of the Detroit Lion running game. The delayed handoff, the draw, whatever you want to call it, to Barry Sanders, and Detroit played that one awful well.
Well, earlier we saw 3rd down and 4. They went to Barry Sanders, not the short pass. Now we're going to have a 4th and 3. You're going to get football to Sanders some way.
At the 36, 4th down and 3. Play clock down to 2. Here come the Cowboys. Mitchell gets it away, and the fingertip catch is made by Herman Moore. One-on-one coverage that time.
And a good call by Scott Mitchell. He saw the single coverage and the coverage by Kevin Smith. Now, Kevin Smith only goes about 5'10", 5'11". Herman Moore, 6'3". He's a high jumper. He's jumped over 7'2" in his collegiate career. And it was a good change at the line of scrimmage by Mitchell.
And a perfect throw by Mitchell.
Oh, yes.
An absolutely perfectly thrown football.
Boy, that could have drawn a couple of flags. Mitchell's or Smith's play against Moore.
25-yard gain on a 4th and 3. First down at the 11-yard line. Mr. Sanders angles his way down to the 9-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
You know what you've got to like about Scott Mitchell, changing that play at the line of scrimmage, and that was on a 4th down, and he took a great chance. If he had changed that play at the line of scrimmage, come off the field after having turned the ball over, it would have been a tough thing for him to do, but he made the right change, got the play, got the first down.
You can see him holding his helmet. They've been having some trouble with the communication from the sideline, and it's almost as if he was having a little bit of an audio problem, trying to hold the speaker a little closer to his ear. 2nd down and 8. And he just flings that one out of the end zone. Nobody open, nobody home. Retool, 3rd and 8.
Another good move by Scott Mitchell. Get rid of it. Don't take the sack. You've got a 3rd down coming. You're well within field goal range. Don't turn it over down here. He learned a lot under, of course, Don Shula and those years with the Miami Dolphins and playing behind Dan Marino. How could you not?
Mitchell appears to be struggling again to get the call from the sidelines. The play clock is inside 10 seconds. He has no choice but to take a timeout.
And remember, they turned that speaker off at 15 seconds, so it was dead anyway. Big play coming up. He takes a TO. 9:48 left in the 3rd. Lions up by 3. So it's 3rd down and 8 after the timeout. The Lions have it at the 9-yard line. 9 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Detroit leading 10-7. And the crowd exhorting and imploring their defense to stiffen here. Big play.
Mitchell's shown a real propensity to go to Herman Moore.
Moore split far to the right. Fake to Sanders. He looks over the middle, and it's caught for the touchdown. There it is. Herman Moore. Split to the right. Ran a little slant. Touchdown.
Again, Kevin Smith primarily, but the help would not come from the inside. Woodson was there, but this is a big man. 6'3", 210 pounds, and he can really go up. Good call, Dan.
Well, they went for him when they needed it on the 4th down, and here they go on the long 3rd down. And you know what? That ball was high and behind Herman Moore, and he went back and got it. And Frank, you called it during the play. Where was the safety for the Dallas Cowboys? You can't let a big man run the middle of the end zone like that without being physically challenged.
Jason Hansen for the point after, and he just does boot it through. Herman Moore, with a lot of great receivers in this league, the Irvins and the Rices and the rest. Sterling Sharp. Remember the name, Herman Moore. The Dallas Cowboys wearing their 1960 uniforms. In 1960, they were 0-11-1. Well, they haven't lost a game since last Thanksgiving, regular or postseason, and that was the famous Leon Lett on the ice, covering the kick, losing it, Stoyanovich winning it for Miami. It's been that long since Dallas has lost. They're down by 10. Hansen to put it in the air for Detroit. Kick fielded at the 8-yard line. Clayton Holmes has had some problems. Not this time, though. Good run back. Clayton Holmes brings it all the way back out to the 40-yard line. Greg Jeffries makes the tackle. It's a 32-yard run back. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, first of all, it starts with a play fake to Sanders, which means something because of the over 100 yards. But look at Herman Moore go back for that football. Folks, that is a Pro Bowl catch. You cannot overestimate how difficult that catch was. And look at the reaction here by Scott Mitchell. No way he saw the touchdown grab by Moore. And look at that. They haven't had a Pro Bowl receiver since Pat Studstill in 1966. More than any other team in the NFL. A longer drought.
Here's Emmitt Smith up to the 47-yard line.
Think about Dallas not having lost since last Thanksgiving. The last team to beat them in the playoffs, Detroit Lions. In '92, they beat them 38-6.
That game at the Silverdome in Pontiac. The Lions haven't been here. Well, no member of this Lions squad has been here as a member of the Lions. 1977 was the last time they made a visit to Texas.
2nd and 3. Harper in motion. Emmitt Smith, the ball carrier, runs into a pile at the 49. It's going to be 3rd and 1 with 8:50 to play in the 3rd quarter, and Detroit leading 17-7. Remember, Dallas on the opening drive went 80 yards for the touchdown. Looked invincible. Since then, punt, 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 punt.
The one that really hurt them was that drive that started on their own 2-yard line, their last possession, where they did a 3-and-out. That gave Detroit outstanding field position, and they converted it into a touchdown.
3rd and 1, double tight end set, and Mr. Smith to the 50. That stick is just about dead on the 50. Herman Moore out of Virginia. His quarterback in college was Sean Moore, who spent some time backing up Elway in Denver.
Remember, we had him in the Sugar Bowl his senior year.
Yep, against Tennessee. Very close here. Clock stopped here for the measurement. 8:06 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Timeout for measurement.
Certainly a 10-point deficit for a Cowboy team that has the offensive weapons they have is really not that big a deal.
Ooh.
And about 2 inches, it appears to be the difference for a first down. And
go for it.
Everybody
see him say it. Simple as that. Those 3 words. Fourth and an inch.
Not a no-brainer decision by any stretch of the imagination. At this stage of the ball game, 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
There's a lot of coaches in this league that would automatically punt that ball away. This is aggressive coaching here by Barry Switzer.
Very aggressive.
Will Aikman sneak? Will he give it to Johnston? Will he give it to Smith? Novacek provides leverage on the left side, and moving that way is Emmitt Smith, and he breaks it. Emmitt, one man to beat, and the angle of out of bounds. A flag goes down at the 10-yard line. Ryan McNeil with a face mask.
Who got the face mask?
Ryan McNeil definitely has the face mask with Emmitt Smith. And for a minute, I thought that was John Riggins coming around the corner.
That's what happens in short yardage, and we're being. Detroit says it's going to work against the Cowboys. But when you get everybody up there in short yardage and you pop that gap like this, you'll see right on the left side, and following behind the big fullback Johnson, all of a sudden you're into the opening so quickly.
Well, Stepnowski leads that way. Newton has a fine block at left guard, but the big block was Tuane at left tackle. And that should be the 15-yard variety there on McNeil.
There's one face mask.
Dueling face mask.
And I think Emmitt got his own in there.
You know, there were 3 flags that were dropped, so we could have a pair of face masks.
I think Emmitt's face mask came as a retaliation. I don't know whether that's going to affect it or not.
Well, McNeil's definitely would be what they might be discussing is whether or not McNeil's was a 15-yarder and Smith's is a 5-yarder, in which case the 5-yarder would get thrown out, and they do a half the distance to the goal line. Boy, Wayne Fonts didn't need this.
Now the gutsy call set that up. Short yardage defense. Good block by Johnson.
It looks like an old Ryder Cup meeting, doesn't it? With those caps. It's against Detroit, and then a personal foul against Dallas.
Well, now the 15-yard variety of face mask is a personal foul as well, so will they offset? I don't know how you could call McNeil's face mask an inadvertent face mask. He held on to it for a long time. Yeah.
Offset.
Yeah.
Offsetting.
And this thing, the key part of this is it comes back, because that was not a dead ball foul. Offsetting penalties negate the play. It negates the entire play. It's 4th and inches again.
And you got to go for it now.
Yep.
You've established a precedent. The safe first on the part of McNeil. There's no question about this one. And then in retaliation, I think Emmitt Smith, after a couple of strides,
he hooks it. I never saw Emmitt Smith's face mask. It looked, his first one was a straight arm. It looked like it was under, unless that one clipped the face mask. But I didn't see a personal foul committed by Emmitt Smith.
Real close call, but here it goes. It's academic right now. The play comes back. It's 4th and an inch. Try it again. Does it again. First down, 39-yard line.
Going back to those offsetting penalties, the official on the scene must have ruled, had to rule, that Emmitt Smith, that straight arm must have been to the face. Now, all right, let's see. This ought to give us a look. All right, this ought to tell us. No, it's right in the chest. That is right in the chest. That's a perfectly legal play. I did not see anywhere on that play where Emmitt Smith commits a personal foul.
Ball at the 39-yard line. Aikman under pressure, throws low. One hopper incomplete, intended for Johnston.
Oh, and Aikman got rolled up.
Sandwiched. He got hit from both sides simultaneously.
Thomas coming from the outside. Former #1 draft pick for Tampa Bay, and he too, like Pat Swilling, has had some problems, but not at Detroit. They have been very happy since he came as a free agent from Tampa Bay.
Model citizen, I think, was the term that Wayne Fonts used to describe Broderick Thomas.
6th player taken in the draft back in 1989.
Very productive citizen for the Lions.
2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line, and Emmitt Smith picks up 3, takes it to the 37. We have 6.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Detroit leading 17-7. If you're just tuning in, I'll repeat that. Detroit leading 17-7.
Again, the Cowboys just a little out of sync, just a little bit behind in their passing, just missing a block here, running into each other like you saw that Derek Kennard colliding with Emmitt Smith. Taking a few yards off the play. It's been that way for him all night.
3rd and 7 at the 37. And send Johnston in motion, and there's all kinds of action before the snap. And Novacek makes the catch, but that's going to be academic.
Troy Aikman's got one of those real fine, hard counts. Detroit anticipating pass, set in the pass rush mode. Aikman gave him that hard count.
It's offside against Detroit.
Detroit?
Detroit.
Take a look at Troy Aikman. You see as he throws a little head into it too. You got to be a little careful. You can draw a flag, but you see it right there.
Dan Owens, number 90, well into the neutral zone. He did a nice job to avoid contact, which would have meant it was a dead play and just the automatic 5 yards. Dallas went ahead and accepted the penalty, which brings up now a 3rd and 2.
3rd and 2 at the 32. 5:50 to go, 3rd quarter. Lions 17, Cowboys 7. Troy, and he's got Novacek, the tight end, and it's a first down to the 21-yard line. Spielman makes the stop.
And another first down reception for Novacek, the king of the first down receptions. You have outside receivers like Harper and Irvin that are going to draw the double coverage. You're a good, smart tight end like Novacek. You can move around and find that opening spot. He's the guy you're going to go to on 3rd down, and they do it all the time.
First and 10 at the 22-yard line. Emmitt Smith splits the hole, and then he gets hit hard by Benny Blades at the 15.
We talked about Benny Blades and his ability to deliver a shot. That is a textbook look at a free safety and how he drives through.
That is a textbook look.
Yeah, that was such a crucial shot. Knocked out our monitors, I think. Watch this.
He weighs 220 pounds, and he really unloads on Smith.
He altered the direction that Emmitt Smith was going.
Scott Galbraith in the game. He's in motion on 2nd and 3. Smith takes it to the 12, very close to a first down. He's ridden down by Kelvin Pritchett.
Boy, was there a big-time lead block that time by Darrell Johnston. That's how a guy gets the nickname Moose.
Shy by a yard. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
I've got him listed at 238 or something like that. If he's not 250, I missed my mark. He is a big man.
3rd and 1 at the 13-yard line. 10th play of this drive. Moose. Gonna be close.
If he got it, it was by an antler, and I'm not sure he did. Might be the fuzz on that antler. There was a wall of Detroit Lions there.
Now they're going to bring the sticks in. I don't think he got it. Not where they spotted it.
That was an excellent job by the front wall of the Lions. Lions had the original fearsome foursome, didn't they?
Was it?
I believe it was the Detroit Lions back in Roger Brown and
Karras was he in the
Alex Darris McCord.
Oh, McCord, yeah.
And the Rams stole it, or?
I'm trying.
Well, here we go again. They have converted 1 4th down on this drive. And remember, Detroit on its last drive converted a 4th and made it pay off. So the 4th down play has become huge. And here's a situation, the Cowboys going for it. You're down by 10. You're going to need a field goal somewhere along the line. But with 4th and an inch, this drive 6 minutes and 24 seconds old at this point. They'll go for it.
What a great time for play action.
Short count, and it's Emmitt Smith leaping to the 8-yard line and a first down. First and goal down.
I've seen guys jump over the pile. That's an unusual look at a guy running over the pile.
He just scaled it. He started to leap over it and found a little footing up at the top of it, got himself an extra yard out of it. Watch this.
Somebody's going to have tire tracks on the back of his jersey there.
Edwin Moses move.
I'm going to leap right here. Whoops, got a place to come down.
A convincing first down pickup for the Cowboys.
First and goal at the 9-yard line. Rolling is Aikman. He throws. Scott Galbraith makes the catch, and he's rolled out of bounds at the 1.5 by Broderick Thomas, who saves the touchdown. First catch of the night for Scott Galbraith, much traveled 5th-year veteran out of USC.
Well, they ran this play in the first half.
And a good hold against Detroit, and that's significant in the sense that it's an automatic first down.
Oh, and you have your running game going like the Cowboys have and Detroit. You can use play action so effectively. A little bootleg, we saw it earlier, as Dan mentioned, in the first half, very effective once again. And now they're going to check out the options.
Well, the option is, do you want to have it 2nd and goal at the 1.5 or 1st and goal at the 4.5? That's the option right here.
As many times as they have picked up 1 yard on short yardage on this drive, I think you'd want to take it for 1.
I agree with you, Frank. I'd rather be inside the 2-yard line.
Well, they haven't stopped him yet on short yardage, so why not?
It's an interesting little quote here.
Oh yeah.
So they'll give up the couple of yards, 3 to be specific, to take the extra play.
And send Emmitt over the top.
The ball's all the way down at the 1. In fact, the nose of it appears to be even inside the 1-yard line. That's a pretty sweet spot on the football field. Tough to give it up.
He declines it here as it's second down and goal at the 1-yard line. And Emmitt Smith does not get in.
Chris
Spielman stood him up.
Yes, sir. Boy, what a play by Chris Spielman. Boy, he starts about 4 yards back in the end zone and comes right over the top. Times it beautifully. That's a perfect play by the middle linebacker on a goal line situation.
Well, that was right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe picked up a couple of inches out of it.
There comes Spielman right in the middle of your screen. Watch him come up and over. Oh, that's perfect. There's no other way to describe it. Perfect.
Third and goal. And it tossed Emmitt Smith. No, he doesn't get in. It's going to be fourth and goal. And that's Broderick Thomas leading that charge.
Well, now this is a decision time because there's a loss of about a yard on that. And you're going to need a field goal somewhere along the line.
A little over a minute to play in the third quarter. Lions leading 17-7.
You need a field goal anyway.
Yep, and Boniol's come in.
Yep.
It's back to the 2.5.
Well, that's good defense. Spielman again, number 54, getting help from Thomas.
I think part of Barry Switzer's decision here is made by the way the Lions play. Now I know what you're getting ready to say about not taking the penalty, getting the extra down.
We had pointed it out. There's Boniol just booting it through the right upright.
I think Barry Switzer's going to say, hey, 2 whacks at it from inside the 1-yard line. If we don't get it, we don't deserve it.
They settle for 3.
There's Chris Spielman, the heart and soul of this Lion defensive team, and boy, he's not much for patting himself on the back, but his play on second down at the 1-yard line that stopped Emmitt Smith, that got his team going, and they stiffened and held.
Boniol's kick. This is taken by Mel Gray, and he brings it back out to the 30-yard line.
You know, I talked to Ernie Zampese earlier about those 2 guys in the middle, the 2 linebackers. He said those are the guys I'm worried about with our running game. He was absolutely right.
Zampese, longtime NFL offensive coordinator, now in his first year with Dallas, taking over when North Turner, his pupil, went to Washington as the head coach. His offense is centered around Aikman and that man, Emmitt Smith. It is 17-10 Detroit. Lions have it at the 30-yard line. Sanders. Great. Clear up one thing. Remember Bernie Kukar on what appeared to be the double face mask, and we were wondering how he could call it on Emmitt Smith. He said personal foul against Dallas. We now get word the personal foul was on Eric Williams, the tackle away from the play, and that's the reason that play came back, that 4th and 1, the 40-yard, what would have been the 40-yard game by Emmitt.
But the only flags that we could see, and there's Eric Williams, the only flags that we can see were all sprinkled around the confrontation between Emmitt Smith and Ryan McNeil, but it certainly answers our question because we could not see any potential foul committed by that guy, Emmitt Smith.
End of 3, Detroit leads at 17-10, and back we come with Monday Night Football after this from our ABC station. I can't read it anymore.
I can't either.
Yeah. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Start the 4th quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Swan patrolling the sidelines. 17-10 Lions. It is second down and a yard and a half at the 39-yard line. Scott Mitchell gives the ball to Barry Sanders, and he has a first down up at the 42. 45 minutes of action, and let's take a look at the numbers through 3 quarters of play.
I think the remarkable one will be no turnovers by either team.
Very even.
In a lot of games since we've gone 3 quarters without a turnover.
Dallas still not over the 100-yard mark in rushing. Unusual for them, but they dominate in the time of possession. But these guys lead on the scoreboard by 7.
At the 42-yard line, Scott Mitchell, play fake, going deep, looking for more, incomplete. quickly. Good coverage. Kevin Smith, one of the finest in the league, right there with him.
And getting help from the inside. And Dallas plays it so loose back there, but they cover each other so well. Kevin Smith knows he's got outside responsibility. Turn to the outside. Look, he has help on the inside from Washington. But again, Kevin Smith, one of the best in the business. When he slides into the man coverage, he's good.
Well, that was brilliant by Smith, but I'll tell you something. James Washington was a good 4 steps behind.
Sanders cuts it back. Again, vintage Barry, first down to the 45 of Dallas. Kevin Smith made the tackle.
He just doesn't plant the foot and cut. He plants the foot and explodes into the cut. It's almost impossible to judge the tackle, and he is so low, you just never get under it.
Barry, 133.
6.3 per carry, though. Look at that average. 6.3 against the Super Bowl champions, folks.
Year in, year out, it's around 4.0. This year it's down to 3.7 at this point in the season.
I think it was a great shot. Emmitt Smith looking at that stat on the board.
Yep, that 6.3 just went to about 6.
Yeah, it did.
Thanks to Dixon Edwards.
Well, Barry Sanders takes chances. You know, if somebody is in a mood to knock his running style, is it on a lot of occasions he gives yardage in the attempt to get the big play. And if there is a difference between Sanders and Emmitt Smith, it's that Sanders has more runs that lose yardage than Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt said, hey, this guy is making me look bad in my own house. Now, how about some support?
2nd and 14. Mitchell throws, and the catch is made and rolled out of bounds is Perriman at the 42-yard line. Perriman, who scored a touchdown earlier tonight.
Good call, good delivery by Scott Mitchell. They have 2nd, 3rd down, a lot of yards. With a 2nd down and about 15, they get half of it. Put themselves in a good 3rd down position.
There's Lomas Brown right there. Look at this work here at the bottom of your screen against Haley. Boy, that's really controlling your guy and taking him clear out of the picture.
Well, since the early going, Haley's been a non-factor tonight.
And this guy is off to a great start. 5.5 sacks coming into tonight. Off to the best start of any defensive end in the league. Lomas Brown tonight, he's neutralizing.
Timeout, Detroit. Troy Aikman temporarily spectating. His team down by 7. Michael Irvin waiting to get back in, but right now the defense and Emmitt Smith as well looks on as it's 3rd down and 7 for Detroit at the Dallas 42. 12:30 to go 4th quarter. Lions up 17-10.
They need a pass rush. The Cowboys need to put pressure on Mitchell.
They rush 4, and he throws for Perryman, and he drops the ball at the 13-yard line.
Perriman was beyond Brown, and in between Brown and the safety man coming over Washington, and Scott Mitchell put it in there beautifully. It would have been a tough catch, but one you should have caught. Take a look again. He's got it. The only place where it could have been completed. What a fine delivery.
And they rapidly line up the punt, and Montgomery floats one that bounces inside the 10 and is knocked down at the 1-yard line and covered at the 2. Derek Moore got down there. Derek Moore, number 31, got down there to keep it from going into the end zone and pin Dallas deep. 40-yard punt, a beauty. 12:14 left in regulation. 17-10 Detroit.
They're not going to want to give these uniforms up.
12 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Improbably, Detroit leading 17-10, and Dallas backed up at its own 2, 1st and 10. Aikman to throw out of the end zone, and the catch is made at the 19-yard line. That's an 18-yard pickup. Michael Irvin to the 20.
That's all pro stuff there. I mean, you're deep in your own end zone, throwing a deep out over a linebacker into the hands of the receiver. That's pretty special.
Well, you talk about needing it. Remember the last time Dallas was in this position, they went 3 and out, punted away, and Detroit got a touchdown as a result. This was a big play, Aikman to Irvin. This gives Dallas a lot of room to get things going now. They can use their entire offense now.
From the 20-yard line. Great protection. Slings one out to Moose Johnston. And Carroll runs over McNeil. Picks up the first down up at the 33-yard line.
This is what the Cowboys need to get the crowd back in it.
Everybody needed it except McNeil. He's the only guy that didn't need it. Here you got a 235-pound guy, and McNeil was not in the classic tackling position and paid the price for it.
He was in the catching position, and rightfully so. That's the position he has to take.
First down, Dallas at the 33. 10:55 to play. Aikman looking deep for Irvin. It's a little underthrown and dropped at the 36-yard line.
Look who was all the way back on the coverage. Same man that stopped Emmitt Smith short of a touchdown in the goal line defense. Spielman, Chris Spielman.
Spielman's just running his butt off downfield. Has no idea where the football is. Has no idea. There's Spielman in the middle of your screen at the bottom.
He's got his eye on 80, though.
He has no idea where the ball is.
Where's the ball? I've never been down here before.
Now that's running an awful long way and just by happenstance finding yourself in the middle of the play.
That is a throwback football player, I'll tell you that.
Enough to distract him. 2nd and 10, and Emmitt Smith busted out to the 39-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd and 4.
Emmitt Smith is known for his big fourth quarters. He can certainly provide a lot of boost to the Cowboys offense if he can pull it together. There you are right there. Those stats show a lot.
Well, those numbers, I think, are also indicative of this is about the time of the game where the pressure of that huge offensive line begins to take a toll on the defensive line. This is a pretty small group for Detroit and a rather large one for Dallas.
3rd and 4, and the Lions came across. It's going to be a free play and a first down any way you want to look at it. Novacek makes the catch. Robert Bourget came across.
That's fatigue. That's when you make a mistake like that. When you get a little tired, the concentration wanes, and you make a dumbbell play like that and come across the line.
Offside on the defense, 91.
And again, a little bit of a hard count by Troy Aikman, but if I'm correct, that was the 4th first down reception for the tight end, Jay Novacek. A little head bob, and here they come.
This is where Detroit has to really somehow summon up some concentration, focus, because they've got the world champions coming at them. They've been behind before. They know how to do it.
From the 49, Aikman throws over the middle. Moose Johnston fumbles at the 50-yard line, and the Detroit Lions have the football.
First turnover of this game.
And that's a result of a guy putting his helmet right on the football. Right on the football.
Kelvin Pritchett recovered it.
It takes a helmet on the football to get it to pop out like that. Let's take a look at that. Just perfect. Mike Johnson. And that is how it is done. The plastic of the helmet is right on the pigskin, and away it goes.
Former Cleveland Brown.
Who could hold on to the football when it gets hit like that with a helmet?
Barry Sanders somehow escapes. Unbelievable. Darryl Johnston, you talk about man biting dogs. In the last 4 years, it's only his 2nd fumble.
I just marvel at what Barry Sanders can do that no one I've ever seen play this game can do. He's just like a spider going down the sidelines. How he kept his balance, I'll never know. Let's take a look at the fumble again. The helmet, bang, Johnson right on that ball.
I don't know that anybody could. RoboCop couldn't have held on to that football.
Here's Sanders again to the 33-yard line. Under 9 minutes now to play in regulation. 17-10 Detroit.
Well, and Darryl is really unhappy with himself. He's a money player, an offensive leader, but that happens every now and then. That was just an absolutely pinpoint strike by Mike Johnson.
2nd down 6. Sanders stopped at the 34, minimal loss.
Good play there by Tony Tolbert. He honored his responsibilities playing the outside. If Barry Sanders is going to come his way, he's going to turn him back in, and that's exactly what Tolbert did.
He can make a minimal loss exciting. Look at the spin.
Yeah, Barry wanted to go outside, and that's just really well done by Tolbert.
3rd and 8 at the 34. Lions up by 7.
Big man Moore, top of your screen.
In motion. He slants across the middle. Mitchell looks that way, throws it off the hands of Moore. Gunned it in there, incomplete.
Tell you one thing, the Dallas pass rush has disappeared. They're fortunate that ended up an incompletion by the Lions. Because Scott Mitchell had all the time he wanted and had the whole field right in front of him, Frank.
One of the few bad passes he's thrown tonight. He had too much on that. It was behind Moore. Very tough to handle.
52-yard field goal attempt is coming up here. Jason Hansen, one of the very best.
This is having a lot of confidence in your kicker.
Craig sets it down.
No question.
And it is no good. Had plenty of distance.
Oh, yeah.
But off to the left.
He had a 62-yarder back in college, so there's no question about the distance. He can get there.
And here's where it costs you an extra 7 yards now, because that ball comes back to the spot of the kick instead of the line of scrimmage.
The 42-yard line. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. A beauty. Monday Night Football Week 3. Next week we go to Buffalo. Bills host the Broncos. Here, Detroit on top by 7, 17-10. Dallas has it first and 10 at the 42-yard line. Aikman checks off to Emmitt Smith. He's rolled out of bounds by Tracy Scoggins up at the 46-yard line. And next Monday, it's a marquee matchup at quarterback because we've got Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills coming off a pair of wins after the opening day loss to the Jets, and John Elway and the Denver Broncos 0-3 right now.
Talk about
critical game for them.
Talk about desperate.
Yeah. Second and 8. Emmitt Smith plows ahead, stopped just shy of the 49-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 3. Chris Spielman makes the tackle.
Boy, look at Spielman trying to get his guys fired up, slapping heads and everything.
Well, what a
Gets
game
Robert
he's played.
Porsche right on the helmet, trying to get him going. A rock in the middle, a real rock. Remember the All-Star County football team a long time ago? 3 members here in attendance tonight. Up here in the booth, Wayne Fonts over on the sideline.
Detroit better account for Novacek.
3rd down and 3, and it's over the middle and it's incomplete, but there's a flag, and they accounted for Novacek illegally.
There comes another flag.
Willie Clay had him wrapped up.
Novacek again with that little move, head fake to the outside, broke away from Clay. Clay had nothing else he could do. Wrapped his arms around and drew the flag.
First down.
Well, one thing about it, if you're going to mug him good.
He did.
This not much in dispute about that call.
1st down at the 45. Johnston. And he takes McNeil with him to the 36-yard line, shy of the 1st down by a half a yard or so.
McNeil's saying to himself, now what are the odds of getting a linebacker out here to give me a little help?
I'll tell you, he has hammered McNeil a couple of times tonight.
McNeil about 175 pounds, not not a big fan of this matchup that he keeps finding himself in out in the flat with Daryl Johnson.
He looks up, here comes 48. Looks like about a 21-wheeler to him.
Didn't we just do this?
Yeah.
2nd and inches at the 35-yard line. And on 2nd and inches, why not? Well, it's deflected and it's incomplete. Irvin was the intended receiver.
That ball was uncatchable. That's not going to draw any kind of a flag.
Well, some of the people here in attendance started booing. I'm not sure that they saw the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Robert Porsche got a hand on it.
There's Porsche, 91. It goes right off his right hand. Wasn't close, but did his job.
Well, you can see the sweat on Porsche. It's not terribly hot, but it is certainly warm down on that field in the 80s when the game began.
And you just don't get any air movement. The air is perfectly still at the base of this stadium.
Here's Smith with the first down and a lot more inside the 20, and McNeil rides him down at the 4.
Well, they contained him for a long time, and all of a sudden he got the gap when he loved that. He's saying, I'm still the man.
Well, Mark Tuinei, Nate Newton, they've been doing a strong job of blocking tonight. Boy, they did it again. Got another good block at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. Is that Galbraith?
Larry Allen.
Larry Allen comes in at tight end, number 73.
And Johnson again with that big block in front.
Yep. Allen caves in that whole left side from the tight end position, and Aikman says, I need a timeout. They were down to 2 seconds on the play clock.
4:55 remaining. Now it's too early really to talk about, do you go for the win or do you go for the tie? But just as a point of information, we discussed it last night with Barry Switzer, and he said his inclination, if he has a situation where he goes down to, let's say, and I specifically said the final minute of the game, he said he would kick and go into overtime. So clearly here in this situation with a lot of time left, you're looking at 1 point.
How did he put it? He said, am I going to give my quarterback 1 shot at it, or am I going to give somebody like a Troy Aikman 8 shots at it?
Well, of course, if you with that philosophy, though, you're basically saying I better win the coin flip.
Or I got a defense that's going to get the ball back for me, and Detroit's been able to move that football tonight.
And I think being at home is a big, weighs heavily in that decision as well.
Jerry Jones has made his way to the field.
Well, the last time that Dallas was in this position, they were party to quite a fine goal line stand by the Detroit Lions. Let's see what they can muster up this time. Here we go, Emmitt Smith. As we said before, just comes on in the second half. A combination of many things, not the least of which is he's a wonderful player.
I think we might see him go right to the air from down here, out on first down.
1st and goal. They split Irvin wide to the right. Double tight end set. Johnston the fullback, and Smith is the tailback, and we've got a whistle before the snap.
A lot of finger pointing going on by the boys in the Honolulu and silver.
That's what it's called, the Honolulu Blue.
I know that's what it's called. That's why I said that.
I'm just reiterating. That's what a good play-by-play guy does. He just repeats what the analyst says, right?
I'm glad you finally figured it out. I'm glad it has finally been an awakening for you, Al. 4 years in Michigan. Then I moved to my sophomore year.
What do you think, arts and crafts? You know it as Honolulu Blue?
That's
1st and goal at the 9. And it's made, the catch made underneath by Novacek. That takes it only to the 7. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Well, but absolutely no pressure on Troy Aikman. He checked off on about 3 receivers, got good coverage, as you might suspect, with no pass rush. But you can't do that very often to Troy Aikman. He'll find somebody.
No, you're right about that, Frank. But I'll say this about Detroit: they're putting some hats on the ball carrier. They are swarming to the football. But if your point is well made, they better find some way to alter Aikman's rhythm, or they'll pay a big price for it.
2nd and goal at the 6. Dallas down by 7. Emmitt Smith swings to the outside. Touchdown, Cowboys. big assist on that one.
Yeah, you wonder, how does a guy 330 pounds run like that? Nate Newton from left guard comes all the way across the formation out in front and makes the block, making that man, the check writer in this organization, very happy.
I mean, that was a great block. It just wasn't your mediocre block. Now watch Newton, all 330 pounds of him.
That's Benny Blades.
And then he cuts him.
That's Blades he puts on the ground. But it's how far the big man had to run.
Chris Boniol out of Novacek's hold. Loops it through 4:09 left in regulation. And we're locked at 17.
Boy, that was a good drive by the Dallas Cowboys. Again, look at Newton. He's on the right part of the screen. Here he comes all the way around the corner looking for the support. That's his job, to pick up the support guy. And look what he does. He not only drives Benny Blades a couple yards back, but then puts him on the ground. Boy, that's a big motor scooter coming out of there, Frank.
I mean, that's almost amazing. And we know how good he is. He's certainly a great drive blocker, great pass protection. You don't get that many times to look at somebody that big doing that superb a job as a pulling guard.
Think he doesn't play with a little emotion, Emmitt Smith? That man loves to win. And that man loves to eat. Well, this crowd's back in the game.
Chris Boniol sends it deep. Ray from the 2. And a nice tackle at the 22-yard line. Brock Marion.
Well, if nothing else, what we're about to see, whether it's a positive or a negative, will certainly be a quality learning experience for Scott Mitchell. On the road against the Dallas Cowboys, tie ball game, 4 minutes left, hostile, noisy crowd.
Well, if you were going to grade him thus far, Dan, you would have to say certainly B+. Let's see if he can step up to A.
At the 22-yard line. Barry Sanders. Just another Charles Bronson move, huh? The great escape right out to the 37-yard line.
He gets more yards.
Smith.
He gets more yards on the sidelines than any back I've ever seen. I think he's going out of bounds, and he has that little scurry to stay inbounds. Almost impossible to get under him to make the contact. I just marvel at him, I really do. Now watch this. He gets to the outside. Those are all instinctive moves. Nothing is thought out about it. His body just flows, and it's just an amazing thing to watch.
Got a good block by Halleck and Holman there at the point of attack.
160 yards tonight for Barry Sanders, and seeks a few more, and you can make it 165 out to the 41-yard line. It'll be second down and 5. The best performance of the weekend by a ball carrier, Barry Foster. The Steelers yesterday 179 yards against Indianapolis. And Emmitt Smith. Well, this one, in terms of that individual matchup, lived up to advanced billing, and the game was a hell of a lot better than anybody ever thought it would be.
Emmitt Smith is staying in the early going. If you weren't with us, he went out of the ball game on 3 different occasions after having carried the football on the run.
Second and 6. Mitchell tip, batted, incomplete. Darren Smith got his hand on it.
Darren Smith really wasn't rushing the quarterback. He's really just floating as a spy, hovering a couple yards off of the line of scrimmage. Stayed in it and got up in the air when he sensed it was Mitchell's time to throw.
Boy, and you got to be looking for your big wide receiver now, Herman Moore. Third down, passing situation, about 6. Darren going high in the air.
Third down and 6.
Play
Clock is down to 1, and they just do get it off. And it's thrown complete to the 49-yard line to Aubrey Matthews for a very critical first down conversion. Well, they were late getting up to the line. They had to go right at the point where the clock went from 1 to 0, and they hit Matthews for a first down.
What an unlikely call, and to get it off without drawing the penalty.
First of all, look at the pocket. Really solid.
Sidearming the ball to avoid the pile up in front of him.
11-yard gain, a first down, 2-minute warning in Dallas. Great game. Well, the Detroit Lions, I guess they're just like a stock that whipsaws. We talked about it at the very beginning, the way they played through the 90s. Here's a game in which they really didn't figure to be in it, on the road at Dallas, coming off that performance last week against the Minnesota Vikings. And here they are, tied at 17 at the 2-minute warning.
Well, you said that, Al. In 1989, they were 7-9. Then they went 6-10. They were 12-4, 5-11, 10-6, back and forth. They haven't really found an identity yet.
What's really impressed me is the way they held in there after Dallas took the opening drive, stuffed it right down their throats, and didn't lose it.
And here's Barry Sanders, and right now what Detroit would love to do is keep the ball, set Hanson up for a field goal, and just take as much time off the clock as they can. And the Lions have 1 timeout left, and the Cowboys have 2.
And the 1 timeout obviously is very critical for Detroit, because this is an opportunity. They'd like to have their full complement of 3 still at their disposal. The fact that they only have 1, a real disadvantage. This guy, though, one of the fine young legs in the National Football League.
We saw how far he could kick it a while ago, and I mentioned that he had a 62-yarder when he was a collegiate.
2nd and a yard at the 39-yard line. And it's Sanders going, well, just past the line of scrimmage, and I think he should have enough for the first
The
down.
ball came back. Barry did a pretty good job of laying it out a little bit farther after he hit the ground, but
I think he's got it.
Well, they're going to stop for a measurement here. 103. Dallas is in a very tenuous position here in terms of taking its timeouts defensively. They've got 2. You reach the point when you're almost in field goal range. You need to conserve a little bit of time.
well, if I'm Dallas, I don't stop the clock for anything.
Not right here.
Not right here.
Not yet.
No, not until they've got to be a lot closer before I do that. Well, this is going to bring up. This will bring up a little fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're going to have to get some ticks off the clock unless you want to try and pick up big yardage on 2nd and short. We talked about it earlier in the game.
Well, you go for it on 2nd and short. What that means is you got 20 people on the pile. That takes a long time to get everybody off. The Dallas folks will be in no hurry to get back up on their feet. This short yardage play, if it is just a buck up the middle to try to get the yards.
Well, it
you know,
shouldn't be, Dan. You got to take this down the field.
3rd and inches, and they will start the clock. They wind the clock now. Under a minute to play, and straight ahead, very close again.
Now the only thing that's going to help them is it's so close. There you go. They're going to stop it for a measurement.
Scott Mitchell holding on.
They should get their play called, get ready to make the snap.
See, if they'd have picked up a full yard or 2 yards where it was apparent that they pick it up, you know, that clock keeps on going. That they're this close, and if they pick it up, this will be a big advantage, a big help to Detroit. Obviously, if they don't make it, it brings up a 4th down.
Well, they measure here. It enables Mitchell also to go over and talk to Dave Levy.
Right. A lot of slack in that chain there.
Ooh,
well, they got it.
Now it is a first down. The clock is stopped temporarily, 51 seconds. They have a timeout to the Lions. They will wind the clock as soon as the ball is ready for play, and there it is. They send Herman Moore off to the right. Sanders is the sole setback. Double slot right. Give it to Barry. Nowhere. Great play by Dixon Edwards.
On Barry Sanders, you have got to seal off the perimeters. Dixon Edwards, sealed off the left side of the offensive formation, and what a hit on Sanders.
And Detroit does not take a timeout. They're saving their last timeout, but they're using almost all of the clock here. We're down to 15 seconds.
I can't believe it's taken them this long to run a play.
Second down and 12. That's very bad clock management. Real bad.
Oh, wide open.
Mitchell throwing, nearly picked off at the 15-yard line.
But there's 3 seconds left in the game. What are they doing?
Well, it was terrible clock. Even with one timeout left, you have to take it. There are other ways to stop the clock.
Scott Mitchell did not see Brett Perriman. Coverage was blown. He was wide open and screaming for the football down the sidelines.
You know, timeouts don't carry over to the next week. You don't get to take them with you.
Yep. You don't put them up on the wall.
No, you do not put them up on the wall.
They're going to let Hansen go for it. I mentioned that in college he kicked 162 yards.
Well, this one is going to be 57 yards.
You know, the worst thing that happens is you go to overtime. Best thing that happens, you win the game.
Craig holds 57 yards. It's deflected. Don't touch it, Leon.
You're a bad boy.
Oh, well, you know.
You're a bad boy. Overtime. Oh, and we've got, we've got one of the Dallas Cowboys. That's James Washington, who brings the ball out of the end zone.
And you got Barry Switzer taking Robert Jones and shoving him back toward the bench. Somebody got a hand on it. The kick was low. Time has expired. We go to overtime. 17 all back after this for our ABC stations. Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron providing the overhead shot. We've got overtime. The toss was won by Detroit. The Lions will get the ball. And Chris Boniol will kick off. Officially, they are saying it's not a block kick, even though it was deflected. And on our replays, as close as we can tell, of all guys, it was Leon Lett who got his hand on the missed field goal by Hansen, which appeared to be too low anyway, even had it not been touched.
Leon goes about 6'6", and he had a big hand up there.
Why do you say of all guys?
Well, because everybody remembers the story, the Leon Lett story. It's a shame in a way. He's noted for two things, the two gaffes, and he's a hell of a player, is what it amounts to.
He is that. And, you know, it doesn't wipe away Detroit's really poor clock management in the last 30 seconds of the fourth quarter.
Let's see if they can overcome it here now as Mel Gray brings it out to the 32-yard line. We now have a definitive shot.
There it is from behind. Big Leon, number 78. The left hand up in the air, and he gets it.
They don't call that a deflection.
His left hand made sure that Hansen's kick wasn't going to go through the uprights.
Whereas Hansen has got to get a very low trajectory to cover that distance, so it gave Lett another opportunity.
Here's one of the big pluses of winning the toss in overtime with the new kicking rules. Look at this field position. An ordinary return, you're at the 32.
Barry Sanders swings to the outside. His big night continues. He picks up about 6, takes it to the 38-yard line.
One of the fine defensive tackles in the NFL. That's what Leon Lett has become.
You play anywhere really down that defensive line, he might make an outstanding defensive end. They have played him there.
2nd and 4. It's the Lions' second overtime game in 3 games. They beat Atlanta on opening day. Sanders exploits the hole. Buried to the Dallas 47-yard line.
Oh boy.
He is playing like he is possessed tonight. It is a great stage, and of course the man who stands between him and probably the recognition that he feels he should have is sitting on the bench watching him, Emmitt Smith. And he's putting on a show tonight.
How many changes of direction do you make in one run? This is a special night, folks, with 22 and 20 going at it.
First and 10. That's 191 yards for Barry Sanders. And about 2 or 3 more. Derek Moore picks up 2 or 3 more right there.
Well, you said 2 or 3 or 4 more.
4 more, exactly. That's exactly what I meant. I just forgot the preposition.
There we go again. Al said 191 yards, almost a 6-yard per carry average, 5.7 per.
He had 220 yards, did Sanders, in a 1991 game against Minnesota, his career best. Moore stopped Robert Jones right there. 3rd and 8.
Barry Sanders, after a couple of big runs, has been coming to the Detroit sideline. Moore's been coming in for a couple of plays. Here comes Sanders back out. Obviously the heat and the amount of yardage that he's covered tonight taking a physical toll on Barry Sanders.
Well, he covers when he gains about 8 yards. He covers about 20 yards.
Well, this will be an interesting call. Charles Haley was across the line, and then Lomas Brown came out of his stance.
3 flags are down.
False start on the offense, number 75.
Gonna make it 3rd and 13.
Lomas leaning a little bit, it looked like.
Well, here we go. There's Lomas standing up, Haley with his hand on the ground. Well, actually, yeah, there was a twitch in at the left guard. Sean Bowens moved his left arm, and then Brown went. And Haley the opportunist.
3rd and 13. Mitchell throws. Herman Moore makes the catch. A first down at the 33-yard line.
Well, we've seen a lot of Herman Moore tonight. You'll never see a more aggressive move by Herman Moore, going up knowing he was going to get hit. He did get hit, concentrating completely on the ball and coming down with it.
Well, if Detroit should win this game tonight, the 5 guys up front get a game ball. Scott Mitchell stands in the pocket for a good 5 seconds, getting a good look at the field, and boy, it's hard to look at the field and not see Herman Moore as big as he is.
And either Moore or Perriman blew that pattern because they most certainly were not supposed to be 3 to 4 yards apart.
And Perryman is injured. He's still down on the field, and the Detroit medical staff. But look at this. Look at Scott Mitchell, and look at the time he has. Finally from behind, he gets hit by Russell Maryland, but he had just seconds upon seconds to stand there and survey the field. You know, we talked about Barry Sanders and how the weather and everything has affected him. Well, here we are in overtime. Dallas doesn't have the depth that they used to have on their defensive line. You know, they lost Casillas. Jimmy Jones is gone. They used to shuttle these guys in and out of there, and the Dallas defensive linemen having to play a lot more snaps than they used to in the past.
Continuing to look at Brett Perriman, who now he's on his feet, but again, what a terrific effort on the part of Herman Moore and the young quarterback Scott Mitchell just to get it there.
Well, the problem with Perryman leaving the game here is I think this is going to change whatever coverages that Dallas is going to use. Remember, Anthony Carter's out with a broken collarbone. Perryman's off the field. You can count on the fact that Herman Moore is going to be double covered.
Connie Morton, the #1 pick in USC. We have not seen much of him tonight.
Aubrey Matthews has had a couple big catches tonight.
A couple of fine first down catches by Matthews.
First down, Detroit at the Dallas 33. Sanders to the 31. That is 33 carries tonight.
Boy, that's a lot of work.
Oh boy.
That's a lot.
Perriman is coming back into the game.
And that is a career high. That's the most carries for Barry ever.
Save him a spot in the hot tub. He's earned it.
Second and 8. Another carry, and there's Leon Lett, who won't let go.
And all of these yards down here hurt because they are within field goal range, and that is just going to extend that distance.
Boy, those were precious yards. You're right, Frank.
Hansen has made one from 32 and missed from 51 and 57. He's looking at about a 52-yarder right now.
Well, that's a miscommunication between Kevin Glover, the center, and Sean Bowens, the left guard. one of those two guys should have been responsible for stamping Leon Lett and stopping him at the line.
4.5 minutes into overtime. 3rd and 11, and flags are down. That was Jim Jeffcoat.
Well, this play never happened.
False start. Number 66 on the line.
Ooh.
Well, Detroit, because of the play of Leon Lett and now the false start of Sean Bowens, has cost themselves close to 10 yards. 10 very, very critical yards when you're talking about being in overtime and in field goal range. They have now put themselves back to a 57-yard field goal from what was about a 47-yard field goal.
Perriman back in the game. He split left, Moore to the right. 3rd down 16 at the 40. Sanders, and he takes it to the 34.5. So you're looking at a 52-yard field goal now.
And well within Hanson's range. And the Cowboy is shaken up.
Well, when you see a soccer kicker, when he puts too much into it, you have a tendency to pull it to the left. That's what we saw with Hanson trying the winning attempt at a field goal at the end of regulation.
James Washington, the Cowboy that was shaken up on that tackle of Barry Sanders. We'll give Hanson a little bit of time to think about it.
Switzer and the special teams coach, Joe Avezzano. Wayne Fonts.
I think we've got a Malox moment going on here on both sides.
You know, in a way, you would think, well, no matter what happens to Detroit, they can come away feeling pretty good, taking Dallas this far on the road, but not with this many chances to win the game. No. This would be a bad ride home for Detroit. They don't view themselves as a lower level team that can come away from a game like this and draw any consolation from just being able to say, we played pretty good. You know, we really gave Dallas a scare. The Lions think they're better than that. They think that they're a team that is good enough to come down here and be expected to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we'll find out, and we'll know a little more after Hanson's kick.
His best in a couple of years, Detroit, 53 yards. As I mentioned earlier, he has took it much further at the collegiate level. He's able to reach it.
Again, he's made one from 32, missed from 51 and 57. This is 52 yards. Dave Craig to put it down. There has not been a 50-yard field goal in the league this season. Blocked. It might be Lett again. He's building a new legacy.
Letter Hennings is acting like he got it. Both are 6'6".
Well, there was penetration up front, but that ball really looked low.
Again, I think it was just Hanson trying to reach for more distance, lowering the trajectory and making it vulnerable.
All right, let's take a look right in the middle. Leon Lett is right over the center. Now they are definitely getting some penetration. It is Leon Lett, the left hand. The left hand.
Boy, they should inspire the offense of the Cowboys.
Boy, they did a great job at driving Detroit back.
Talk about a guy that finds the spotlight. Leon Lett. The pass for Johnston is low. 2nd and 10.
You know, this Detroit offense, they got to be a little cool. They haven't played any football in a long time.
Well, that's several times tonight that Aikman has been short on that little out pass to his fullback, the little check pass. He was throwing that very poorly tonight.
You know, Detroit had the ball at the end of regulation. They've had the ball for 5.5 minutes of overtime. There's been a few ticks off the old clock since Dallas has played any offense.
2nd and 10, Dallas at the 42. Game tied at 17. 5.5 minutes into overtime. Emmitt Smith up to the 44, gain of a couple. 3rd down and 8. Later tonight on Nightline, Former President Carter, Senator Sam Nunn, General Colin Powell will be featured following your late local news. Third down and 7 at the 45-yard line. Troy throws. Novacek was held on to. Interference. Spielman
grabbed Novacek once again.
Yeah, Spielman was all over him, and he knew it. That was brought about by a great move by Jay Novacek. He faked Chris Spielman into having to grab him.
I think he's picked up 4 first downs on receptions and a couple tonight on penalties.
Man, Novacek runs good patterns. Watch this guy come off the ball. That little hitch to the outside and then coming back, and there he tries to go outside again, and Spielman hooks him. That's just brought about by the quality of the pattern run by Jay Novacek. Spielman knows he's been had and just reaches out with the left hand and grabs him.
That was a good look at Aikman and Novacek working together. That pass designed to go over the middle. They both read that he had to go to the outside.
Smith, oh boy, runs right into Spielman.
Oh, what a game he's played.
Hasn't that always been the hallmark of the game's great players? That after something negative happens, they always seem to come back with a positive. Look at Chris Spielman read it, come right through the hole, and put a stamp right in the chest of Emmitt Smith. Robert Porcher was on the bottom around Smith's ankle.
Well, I'll tell you, they're asking him an awful lot to cover Novacek, period.
2nd and 11 at the 49-yard line. Aikman throws. Johnson makes the catch. He's rolled down at the 45-yard line. He's about 5 yards shy of the first down. Massey makes the tackle. Key third down coming up. 3rd and 5.
Well, the 2 wideouts since the first quarter, Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, have been pretty much taken out of this game. They have been very quiet. Most of the third down action has been left to Novacek, as you might suspect. If you're getting double coverage on the 2 outstanding wideouts, you're going to free up the tight end.
Boy, this is a part of the game where the confidence of a world champion is a big plus.
3rd down and 5, and they give it to Emmitt Smith, and he has the first down. He gets 7.
Oh, that's believing in your big man. 3rd and 5, you go with a draw, and Emmitt Smith gets the first down, and he's hurt.
Smith driving. Harry Colin was the man who made that very hard tackle at the end.
I think he jammed his shoulder or his head right into the buttocks of his own man.
That was his 27th carry of the night.
It was a pretty jarring hit by Harry Colin at the conclusion of the play. Michael Irvin is the Cowboy out in front blocking, and there's contact here, but watch how hard right there that hit by Colin hits the helmet of Emmitt Smith and kind of pushes his head off to the right side. Right there, that collision with Colin. Emmitt Smith still down on the field.
And what you have to hope for is that it is a stinger that is a little scary if you haven't experienced them in many of them, and it looks as though that's what it's going to be. If that numbness goes down your arms, down your legs, and all of a sudden you wonder what has happened to me.
It's not a wonderful thing, is it?
In a situation like that, you have to come out for one play. So it's an injury timeout. You take at least one play off. The ball is at the 37-yard line. 6:55 left in overtime. He had sudden death overtime, but it winds up as a tie if you run out the 15 minutes. Each team with 2 timeouts in OT.
Keep in mind the Cowboys have a rookie kicker in Bonio.
It is deflected, and it is caught by a lineman at the 38. That's Derek Morris. He loses the football, and Pat Swilling has it.
Oh, my.
How strange does it get?
Michael Johnson tipped it to start things. Kennard wound up with it. He loses the football. Swilling gets it.
Kennard gets it, and then can hardly hold on to it. He juggles the ball. Watch Derek Kennard. He has it. Oh, and then just can't put it away.
I think it was Owens who knocked it out of there, and Swilling just caught it in the air.
Violated a Kennard.
Number 90 gets a hand in. Watch this. He'll come up from behind.
Derek has the ball. He puts it away. It is a legitimate fumble. He had possession, put it away, and then had it knocked out by Owens. What a weird football game. Weird, wacky.
Former Saint is a center at the moment. The ball is at the 45-yard line, and this is Barry Sanders going nowhere. We are 8.5 minutes into overtime.
Well,
when
you played the game, coaches had an expression that they always loved. I don't care what level you played. Coaches called it a gut check, a fortitude check, a toughness check, whatever you want to call it. Well, that's at the 6-minute and 10-second mark of overtime. That's what every player on the field here for Detroit and Dallas is going through right now. These guys are fatigued beyond belief. They're on autopilot, and they're playing their hearts out.
That's to go. This is now the 70th minute of the game. Under 6 minutes to play in overtime, and Mitchell throws, and it's caught at the 50-yard line by Herman Moore, who takes it down to the 47. It's going to be 3rd and 2. One thing about the Cowboys, in contrast to the Lions, at least Dallas has a week off. And what better time than after a Monday night overtime?
Yep. The NFC East it's their bye week next week, and you're right, this will come at a good time.
Detroit, meanwhile, goes home, and they'll face the Patriots and Bledsoe. 3rd and 2 at the 47-yard line. Sanders, he's real close. He's real close.
And Robert depends on where they mark it. They did not give him a good mark.
Well, Robert Jones saved a big play. The Cowboys came with an inside linebacker blitz. What that means, if Barry Sanders gets past that first wave, there's nobody left. That'll just go down as one tackle on the game summary, but this is a biggie by Robert Jones, number 55. Look at that. He fights off the block of Ty Halleck, falls back to the inside, and that's a biggie.
And a first down.
Yeah, it's a first down, but it could have been a whole lot worse. Barry Sanders could have gone right up the tunnel.
We talked about the heat. We talked about the exhaustion that these players are going through at the moment. Barry Sanders has carried it a record number of times for, what is it now, in times of carries? 197 yards, 37 carries. Boy, that's a night.
First down at the 45. Carry number 38 is a loss. At 37, though, he long ago surpassed his personal high, and it's now a new Detroit Lion team record with 4.5 left in overtime.
Well, that was 38. And I think it's time for Scott Mitchell to test the airwaves. I think we've got to, if Detroit's going to get in position here, I think they've got to make something happen through the air.
2nd and 12 at the 47. Again, each team 2 timeouts. And he throws, and he underthrows Perriman, who was curling outside and was open.
He had it, and he just seemed to hurry it. He didn't look like he stepped into it, threw off his back
he
foot.
Turned Woodson right around. Little move to the inside. Woodson gets turned around. He's wide open, and he should have stepped into this. He had time to step into it, and he didn't do it.
No, bad. He threw completely off his heels, falling backward, actually, as he threw the ball.
3rd and 12 at the 47. Detroit and Dallas tied at 17. Mitchell rolling, directing, throwing back across his body, and it is incomplete at the 34. Perriman couldn't hold it. He was blanketed.
Risky.
Boy, how risky that was for the youngster. We saw the inexperience a few moments ago when he didn't get the ball to Perriman, and that one could have been very costly.
The problem is he ends up having to roll out, and he didn't hardly have a receiver anywhere near the sideline. Perriman's the closest one, but he's clear inside by the hash marks.
Washington in there doing battle.
Yep, and amazingly, Mitchell delivered the ball.
Now Montgomery to punt. They're out of field goal range, so he'll have to send it down to Clayton Holmes. Bounces sideways inside the 15, and it will be down at the 16-yard line.
Pretty good bounce for Dallas.
Dan Malone downs it there. 3:47 left in overtime. Dallas with 2 timeouts. And well, the score is 17 all, and 362 yards for Detroit and 345 for Dallas, and the Cowboys have the football.
Those are lofty rushing numbers by both clubs. You get over 150 yards and you're doing quality work. These two teams at 156 and 206.
Pretty good numbers for 2 guys.
No.
And 2 pretty good offensive lines tonight. That's Johnston in the slot. Aikman throws underneath to Emmitt, and he gets out to the 23-yard line. So Detroit couldn't get Hansen into position. Now the question is, can Dallas get the rookie Boniol into position for a game-winning field goal?
Don't you feel somewhere we're going to have an Irvin, we're going to have a Harper, and something deep? Detroit thus far has just closed down these 2 outstanding wide receivers.
You get 2 timeouts in overtime. That's what both of these clubs still have on the board. 3 minutes and 10 seconds for Dallas.
2nd and 3, and they're going to give it to Emmitt again, and he's going to pick up the first down. He takes it out to the 32-yard line. Not only do you have the 2-time, you get the 2-minute warning. It's the same. The rules are now the same as they would be at the end of any regular 4th quarter.
Saw some missed tackles there by Detroit. Again, these players are physically exhausted, and that's one of the first things that begins to crop up are missed tackles.
Aikman, good play fake. Irvin open 49-yard line, and it's a first down in Detroit territory. Robert Massey was there, and Irvin is shaken.
At that time, Irvin, with full concentration, he knew he was going to get hammered. He did. Held on to the football and got the first down.
He got the wind knocked out of him. That's a shoulder right in the midsection. And
watch him concentrate on this ball and come down with it. He hugs it to his chest. He knows he's going to get hit. He pulls it right in, and he almost loses it as Massey puts his shoulder right on the ball. Great effort by an outstanding wide receiver.
It's a tough game, folks. It's a tough game played by really tough people.
Mentally
right,
tough.
Frank.
This is being mentally tough on the part of a wide receiver.
He knew he was going to get it, and he did get it. Some oxygen starting to return to Michael Irvin's lungs.
First thing is you feel like you're going to die. The second, you hope you do. And the third, it starts to come back into your lungs. And he's fine.
Yeah.
2:22 left in overtime, plus the 2-minute warning. It's been almost 5 years since the NFL has seen a tie. Chiefs Browns 10-10 in November of '89. We almost saw one on a Monday night about 3 years ago. Remember that game in Chicago, the Jets and the Bears?
That was one of the great games.
Did you win that one with the Cards?
Yes.
Years ago on
That was on a Monday night.
I was on a Monday night.
1983, the Cardinals and the Giants.
You had a great field goal kicker that night.
It might have been one of the ugliest games ever played on this planet.
Emmitt Smith is sent back into Dallas territory, back at the 48-yard line. And now we come to the 2-minute warning. So they have that much time and 2 timeouts as Dallas tries to set up for a game-winning field goal for the rookie, Chris Boniol.
You asked me if I played that game. I almost denied it.
I knew you did.
9 o'clock Eastern next Monday night.
Great matchup with 2 great quarterbacks. Both came into the league in '82 and outstanding careers.
Well, this has been outstanding here. The Jerry Jones exhorting his team from the sidelines. So many good football players. So many alternatives for Troy Aikman here, and so much time left. 2 minutes, 2 timeouts.
2nd and 12. Irvin is back in the game. Aikman.
Look out!
Oh, he's hit from behind.
The ball's
He's
loose.
At the 43, and Detroit has the football. Broderick Thomas stripped it.
Boy, Troy took a long time looking downfield. You know, after that much time, you got to worry somebody's coming up from behind.
Well, he was trying to step back into the pocket. He knew he was in trouble, and he just held on to it too long. But Thomas coming around the horn got the hand in there.
Broderick Thomas.
Talked earlier about how they have been so happy with his performance. Here he comes, number 51, getting around Eric Williams and coming back in, slapping at the ball and slapping it out.
There's a limit to how long a quarterback can stand in the pocket with the football, and Troy Aikman exceeded that limit.
Ball at the 43-yard line. One first down, and they're back in field goal range. And there is your one first down as Brett Perriman with a flag down takes it to the 25-yard line.
Now the flag's not at the line of scrimmage. The flag's downfield. Ooh, and this is against the Dallas Cowboys.
The contact may be on the 5 yards allowed. He was number 24. Riding. That's Larry Brown. You can't take over 4 yards. It's 5 yards.
It's a penalty that doesn't come into play because of the completion. It's declined by Detroit.
Number 76 is an eligible receiver. Number 76.
And number 76, an eligible receiver downfield.
Scott Conover.
No, Scott Conover is an eligible receiver now in this formation.
Yeah. Coming up, Bernie Kukar announcing it. Bernie Kukar now says Detroit takes a timeout. 1:47 remaining in overtime. They're in field goal range for Hansen. Jason Hansen in his career, which is now in its 3rd year, has never missed from less than 40. He's perfect. 42 of 42. Right now, if they didn't gain another yard, he's looking at about a 43-yard field goal.
Well, his last 2 have been the equivalent of hitting 1-irons low. Yeah. I think he needs to strike a pitching wedge this time. And,
he missed a 42-yarder last week.
Get a little immediate elevation.
On opening day, he won a game on a 37-yarder in overtime against Atlanta in the Dome.
And I'd put 2 guys on Leon Lett. Try to keep him from getting some penetration.
If Detroit wins, a big assist to Broderick Thomas. He pulled off the hat trick. That was a sack, a forced fumble, and a recovered fumble to set Detroit up.
Well, I congratulate both of these clubs. They have played hard. They have fought. They have hit. And they did not give up under really hot, humid conditions down on the field.
Well, this could be a very defining moment for Detroit. They go on to win this game tonight.
A game like this is the reason a lot of people like this game.
First down at the 26. Barry Sanders goes nowhere.
And you see Barry not doing what he is prone to do, and that is to take the risk, bounce to the outside. He's not going to lose any yardage down at this point. He knows where he is in field position.
I don't think Detroit should be afraid to put the ball in the air here.
Lions have 1 timeout remaining. That much time left in overtime.
As long as Mitchell doesn't take a sack, as long as he's extremely careful to get rid of the football, I wouldn't be afraid to run some high percentage passes here.
Well, they're not going to do it.
Not in that formation.
2nd and 9. They give it to Barry. Ooh, he's back to the 28. So now you're looking at a 45-yard field goal. Tackled by Jeffcoat.
Mitchell is upset with the calls that are coming in. He jumped up and down, stomped his feet. He wants to put the ball downfield.
You can be conservative to a fault.
Barry a little tempted to try to get to the outside. Maybe cost a yard.
3rd down and 12, and Dallas takes a timeout with 39 seconds remaining in overtime, and 3rd and long when we come back. 3rd down and 11 for the Detroit Lions. The game tied at 17 deep into overtime. If they do not pick up a yard here, it's about a 45-yard field goal attempt for Jason Hansen.
All this play calling will be forgotten if Hansen drills the field goal, but it has been extremely conservative here by Detroit. 1 for 4 is, those are not the kind of numbers that inspire a lot of confidence either in the coach or the kicker.
This will be an interesting call. It has a lot to do with what you believe in your young quarterback. Giving him a high percentage pass, or where you put next to ordinary running back Barry Sanders into the line one more time. And
Herman Moore is standing on the sideline, so draw your own conclusions.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mitchell's, he's going to set Hansen up right in the middle of the field. That's all that was.
Well, that's high percentage stuff there.
And Dallas takes a timeout because if Hansen misses this one, Dallas would get the ball at about the 34 with 32 seconds remaining.
Or if they block yet another one.
These guys play 5 quarters, and it comes down to a guy who doesn't have a matching pair of shoes.
It's all black and white right here, isn't it?
Tell
Yes,
you,
yes or no?
if he makes this field goal, Detroit's going to be hard pressed to give up those uniforms. They're going to want to play in them next week or until they lose. Dallas, on the other hand, will never wear those things again.
No way he's not thinking about big number 78, who's got a hand on a couple of his longer attempts tonight.
Dave Craig will put it down at the 34. A 44-yard Hansen attempt to try to win it for Detroit. He's got it just inside the upright.
Great moment for this team.
Wayne Font said last night, this is a real measuring stick for my team. Well, they measured up. They go to Dallas and they beat the world champions in overtime.
Wayne Fonts put a lot of stock in this game and finding out what kind of a football team he had. The Dallas Cowboys will be there. They will be there. They have too much talent to not be there. The Detroit Lions found out a great deal tonight, both about Scott Mitchell and about their football team.
Certainly their defensive team that took the explosive Dallas Cowboy offense and almost, other than Emmitt Smith with a few key runs, they just took their passing game right out of it.
Well, and you got it. There's going to be a lot of questions being asked this week here in Dallas. Jerry Jones' body English didn't work. But you know what? This is an offense that struggled last week against the Houston Oilers. It's an offense that struggled tonight against the Detroit Lions. For all their talent, the Dallas Cowboys, rather, the last 2 weeks have not been all that impressive in moving the football through the air. Emmitt Smith tonight, great night. Passing-wise, they just have not been clicking.
Well, Hansen wins it, but the real heroes, Barry Sanders and Broderick Thomas, with that sack, forced fumble, and recovered fumble to set them up.
And one of the fine turnarounds that we've seen in a long time was that Detroit offensive line. Embarrassed by Minnesota, heroes tonight.
Lions win an OT until next Monday. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan. Good night from Irving, Texas.